And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights. So the only way we're going to get some of this oppression and exploitation away from us or aside from us is come together against the common enemy.
I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
Get together, have a few laughs.
Welcome to the Iowa Talk Guys podcast. I'm your host, TP.
I'm your host, Theo.
And I'm E-Rock.
And on this week's show, we're getting together with our buddy from down south, Hank, from 643 Conspiracy.
And our buddy from way down southwest,
Kyle.
Chef Kyle, from Sunday Night Secret Society podcast.
Yep. So they already dropped the show, but it's okay.
Yeah.
We are dropping it now, Iowa Talk Guys style. And we hope you guys enjoy this.
It's a long one.
Yeah. Clones, chimeras, we kind of go everywhere too.
Everywhere.
But we get back to the from start to finish. It starts on clones and chimeras and ends on clones and chimeras.
Yeah. When we do collabs like this, we usually get pretty excited. Yeah. And just kind of go all over the world.
Yeah, just like we did with Drew Misson. We tried to do undrip and we ended up going a few different directions there. But yeah, it's all good. We still had fun. Hopefully you guys had fun listening.
So here it is, rolling out, and enjoy. I put together a little show here on clones and chimera that is pretty interesting.
Which turns out is way deeper of a rabbit hole than I thought it was. When you told us what the topic was going to be, I was like, okay, yeah, I've heard some about this. And then we started looking into it. I was like, whoa, this is very complicated.
I focus just sort of more on like mainstream articles and whatnot, but I guess with Chef Kyle and Hank here, we can go 15,000 different directions with just that information, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you guys looked into some of this too prior to the recording, correct?
Yeah, I've done a little, just briefly. I've skimmed over some of the stuff that TP sent over. So, like, for just laying some groundwork, what would the definition of a chimera be?
Why are you asking the tough questions, man? No, so the definition of a chimera would be an interspecies hybrid. Okay? In layman's terms. For instance, what we're going to get into...
Hold on, why don't we get... Where's Webster's dictionary?
That's fine, yeah.
See, I'm waiting for the British fellow to come in and inform us.
He'll be on later. Jeeves will be on later.
Yeah, Jeeves always shows up later. So, chimera, noun, capitalized as a noun, it is a fire-breathing she-monster in Greek mythology, having a lion's head, a goat's body, and a serpent's tail.
So yeah, the original definition of chimera and the word came from Greek mythology.
Yep, that's its origins. In today's day and age, an individual, organ, or part consisting of tissues of diverse genetic constitution. Example, a hybrid created through the fusion of sperm and an egg from different species is a chimera.
So we're going
according to Webster's.
We're going to get into some of the laboratory examples of that. Okay,
we like talking about lab stuff on our show when we get into these deep dives, man. This may, hey boys, I hope you're ready for a long night. This may be a 2 or 3 part series.
I'm in.
I'm good to go.
So, I've seen Chimera.
The movie?
The band.
Oh.
Didn't their lead singer die in a pool of his own vomit or something like that?
Can't remember.
Or was that Black Dahlia Murder?
The only way to go.
I guess. Yeah, calm down there, Neil Young. Into the blue.
Out of the blue, into the
black, baby.
So the first article that... did you guys get those links?
Yeah, I sent over some of them to Chef. I'm working on sending the rest of them now.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I was trying to send an email, but you didn't answer me, and I was like, all right, Hank.
My bad.
No, you're good. I'm just going to send them this way, buddy.
So the first article that I popped up here was actually an example of, let's air quote, the first clone. We're going to air quote that one because that's the one they told us about, all right?
Right.
But if Chef Kyle and Hank, if you guys have the Scientific American article titled 20 Years After Dolly the Sheep Led the Way, Where is Cloning Now? The opening paragraph reads like this. It was a glorious day in the hills above Edinburgh, Scotland, when old friends and scientific colleagues Ian Wilmot and Alan Trounson set off on a hike 2 decades ago. We're closer to 3 decades now. By the way, this article is by Karen Weintraub, July 5th, 2016, in the Scientific American. High over the city, Wilmot confided that he had a secret to share. As part of a larger study, he and several co-workers had successfully birthed a lamb in the lab. Not from egg and sperm, but from DNA taken from an adult sheep's mammary gland, or the titties. They had cloned a mammal. Quote, "Crikey, I was stunned," end quote, says Trounson, who is now, as then, a stem cell biologist at Monash University in Melbourne, Australia. He remembers sitting down hard on a nearby stone. It was a warm day, and Trounson felt a chill pass over him as he realized the implication. Quote, "It changed everything," end quote. So yeah, what they did was they cloned Dolly the sheep, and in 1997... 96, they ran the story on this. Obviously, at the time, it was predicted that humans could now be cloned from this event. Diseases could be prevented and possibly children birthed again who were lost for any variety of reasons. The article claims that cloning people, quote, remains unfeasible with no scientific benefit and an unacceptable level of risk, several scientists say, end quote. And cloning the animals remains limited, although it is likely growing. That's the end quote, sorry. The article immediately goes on to explain that the U.S. and China utilize cloning for agricultural purposes to, quote, capitalize on the genes of a few extraordinary specimens, end quote. Now, the EU Parliament voted to ban animal cloning for consumption in September of 2015.
Well, they don't need to clone animals now, do we? Have the 3D printed meat.
Oh, yeah, the Bill Gates meat?
Yeah, it comes from like...
Bill Gates.
Yeah, Chef Kyle, you ever
cooked up any...
grilled up any of that meat?
No, man. I every time I have to throw down like a Beyond patty or a whatever the fuck the Beyond. I think
chicken?
there's two. There's Beyond. Yeah, it just makes me fucking sick.
Why do they always...
Old Uncle Klaus's insects we've got on standby. The bugs.
Uncle Klaus.
The bugs.
You're going to like it. It's very delicious. Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Man.
Yeah.
it's pretty bad.
So we played some stuff on the show before, some clips about the 3D printed meat, and then just watching though, going and looking at the videos, and then some of the videos that I pulled the audio from, it looks disgusting, dude. Just like, if you see the meat, would you trust it eating it? When you look at the stuff, and then they interview the people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, the consistency is perfect," and this and that. I'm like, I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
Highly fucking
I bet
doubt
you
it.
actors are being paid a good amount of money to be telling me that it's fucking good meat.
Yeah, why do they
yeah.
want to mimic meat, too? Why? I mean, shouldn't you be proud of being a vegan or a vegetarian? I love my veggies, and I know E-Rock and TP do as well. Why hide it? Just love the veggies. Respect the veggies. Why do you have to try to make them taste like meat? You can't do it.
Well, duh, dude, because cow farts.
Well, yeah, cow farts is obviously a very big problem. One of the biggest problems we have right now in this world. But
Yeah, this is why the doomsday clock's almost at midnight, because of cow farts.
Yep.
Right.
But there's other routes as far as like instead of lab grown like fake meat shit, like you can make a pretty killer like black bean burger with some with using like beets. There's other ways to get your your fake meat other than having it lab grown, 3D printed, et cetera, et cetera.
That's true. And you know what? I've had one of those black bean burgers. You know, I haven't tried it yet, but you know what would go really great with that black bean burger?
Some TP?
A trash can?
No. It wasn't bad, but what would really hit the spot with it would be a fucking quarter pound of beef with it. I'm not even lying, dude, and it would be fucking bomb. I should try that next time.
Well, we all know that at the end of the day, the reason they don't want us eating meat is so that we're ultimately weaker, less intelligently sharp.
Yep.
It's well known that eating meat leads to the increase of muscle mass and more energy in your body, and
you are what you eat.
You can read from historical texts that in order to keep a population docile and controllable, you took the meat away from them and only fed them grain.
Bread and circuses, baby.
That's it.
So would you eat a cloned sheep or lamb? Would you?
But if it's cloned, though, so I don't know though. That's a whole other territory. Like, what is? Well, I don't know.
I mean, because would eating a cloned animal be any different from eating the fucking antibiotic steroid infused chicken that you get from your Walmart from the Tyson plant
already that you're getting now? Yeah.
Well, I would think it would be worse because I would think that with the lab grown meat, I would assume that they're probably pumping it full of like extra preservatives because it's not. This is just my opinion, but I'm thinking like I know they put preservatives in a lot of the actual beef and chicken and whatnot that we meat eaters eat. But if it's lab grown, I feel like they probably have to add more stuff into it to give it a longer shelf life, possibly. So I would say it's probably I don't know, but I would say it's probably worse for you.
Well, hold on. What if we go on this route where animals have a soul? No, I'm serious though. And then, but if it's cloned, right?
So if you eat it, you inherit
some soul.
It's
you're
power,
eating
like
soul.
Highlander.
No,
like ravenous.
But if you're eating, so maybe that's with animals with souls is like positive, right? It gives you positive currents going through your bodies. Clones give you the negative current.
Yep.
I don't know.
Well,
it would be soulless meat.
Well,
I
think if we're going to go this route. I think if we're going to go this route, the question would probably be better phrased. Would we consider cloned or lab-grown meat to be clean in God's eyes?
There you go. There you go.
It's a good question.
So,
probably not.
Once again, tainted meat. Yeah, probably not. That would be, if they could do that, then the Pharisees back in the day would have been using cloned sheep to sacrifice to Yahweh. We don't want to use the good stuff. We make good money on this. We'll use these clone ones for the Lord.
Right.
Wow.
So that article actually goes on to explain, quote, that the initial aim of the research regarding Dolly was to use an animal's milk production system as a factory of sorts.
Yep.
Manufacturing proteins to treat human diseases. Okay, so human diseases. But interest in that idea has declined with the rise of inexpensive synthetic chemicals, end quote from the article there.
So there was one also along that lines. They actually blended a species of spider because the spider's webbing was like really high tensile strength for the small amount of what it was.
Yeah, they say that like 1 inch in diameter of spider thread could like
on this
stall
particular
a 747 in flight at full thrust.
On this, yes,
So strong.
on this particular spider, but there was no way to mass produce it until they mixed this DNA with these sheep and whatnot. They made it to where you could milk it in the milk, and you'd send the milk through a refinery process, and bam, you have mass amounts of this spider silk that has high tensile strength, and then they started using it to rebuild tendons in people and stuff. But like Theo just said, though, that last one, we got some cheap, you guys don't need that all-natural shit. You know what we got? Some Rockefeller, Rothschild, petroleum-based
There we
garbage.
go. It's cheaper.
It's cheaper.
What do you got, E-Rock?
Well, do you know how Dolly died?
Yeah,
Was
it was a respiratory ailment because she just lived inside.
Well, yeah, she was euthanized because she had a progressive lung disease and severe arthritis.
How old was she?
She was supposed to be living to 11 to 12 years, but
She was 7.
6.5.
So it almost
but you gotta
essentially
think
cut
that's
the
to be
lifespan.
expected.
The half-life was cut in half.
Okay.
Right. Which is interesting.
Interesting.
So,
but you could
go ahead. Sorry, Hank.
No, I was going to say her not having anything close to a normal lifespan would almost be expected when you're playing God, basically.
You bet.
Because there's certain things that have to occur naturally within the whole process of life being created. Yeah. And when you bypass those processes, then you have to, like, kind of like what Kyle was alluding to, you have to add artificial ingredients or whatever it is to make up for what's not happened naturally. So
Amen.
I feel like 6.5 was probably a miracle for Dolly.
No kidding. Well, and she had severe arthritis. So how long does she have that too?
Well, but she lived in a laboratory environment as well. So you're talking about missing basic just missing basic things like sunlight and fresh air.
Yeah.
That could kill somebody.
True.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point too. But at the same time though, I mean, what Hank was saying, dude, 100% on board with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, if you go to the National Museum of Scotland in Edinburgh, you can see the preserved body.
The taxidermied body of Dolly.
Yep.
Who was actually named after Dolly Parton, by the way.
Why? Because she could sing like her? Or does she look like her? What?
Tig old bitties.
Yeah, buddy.
What do you got, Kyle?
They actually featured this. The first time I heard about Dolly was actually, I mean, obviously it had to have been after 1996, but I used to watch a lot of Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Yeah, that show was awesome.
With
it was.
With Clark Kent.
Dean Cain.
Or Dean Cain, yes, a.k.a. Clark Kent. And I remember seeing that, and that was, at the time I was so young, it was like, oh, that's kind of cool, And who knew that 20-something years down the road we would be seeing this cloning on a mass scale. Pretty wild.
Yeah. When we grew up also in that era where they were pushing that in all the science fiction, especially Judge Dredd, remember? So that was the issue with the clones at the end of Judge Dredd, is that they only live like half of as long as they were supposed to or whatever, right?
Your brothers and your sisters be born 2 hours. One big, endless supply of perfection. We have a choice. We can stand here right now and create a whole race of goddamn brainwashed morons and call them judges. We can create some free-thinking people. We'll call them human.
And which is the whole Star Wars thing with the Clone Wars.
Clone Army,
Yep.
Which is also why Judge Dredd said that the rat burger tasted really good, because it was just regular fresh rat.
The rat burger scene is actually from the movie Demolition Man.
¿Qué es esta carne?
Esta carne es de rata.
Rat. This is a rat burger. Not bad. Matter of fact, it's the best burger I've had in years.
Gracias, señor.
Prego. See you later.
So
love it.
Interesting. Yeah, go ahead, Theo. Sorry.
Well, although the article offers, in their words, strong ethical objections to cloning humans in the form of scientists saying so, that's pretty much all that they offered as the ethical objections were just, well, scientists just said so. That we have strong ethical objections. Nothing else.
Because of science. Trust the science, buddy.
The claim in the prior paragraph of cloning of animals remains limited, end quote, seems assumed at best. That's just what they're telling us. Kind of like, guys, I guess why we're talking here is we probably didn't actually learn about the first clone when they played that on TV in 1996.
Yeah, that was the one that wasn't all mutated and shit like the Ripleys and Alien Resurrection, right?
But
fucking sheep with 5 eyes and shit growing out of
it further lists in that article that beyond the previous stated U.S.-China agricultural cloning, that there are other activities going on involving, there's a South Korean scientist that was charging $100,000 to clone pets. Well, you can get your pet back. You can get kitty back. The author claims that Trounson believes there is a large market for cloned livestock embryos. That's a quote. The U.S. government says, according to the two articles, as of 2008, quote, there was no discernible differences between cloned and non-cloned cows, goats, and pigs. So it allowed the process in those animals though mainly for breeding rather than meat production. So anyway, but the moving on here, if you guys have that News Australia article, there's actually a Chinese company named Boya Life Group. That sounds like a K-pop group. Boy Life Group. That plan to clone at least 1 million beef cattle.
You said something about the South Korean scientists charging $100,000 to clone pets?
Yeah, you can get your pet back.
Well, yeah, I remember hearing about this back in 2020. There was an Eastern Iowa woman who cloned her cat.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Probably in the town that we're in right now.
Cedar Falls, Waterloo area.
Cedar Falls, Waterloo.
Apparently it cost like $35,000 from this
to get Kiki back?
Gen.
I would believe it. Didn't you ever hear about that Methodist cat?
The Methodist one?
Yeah,
like
the Methodist cat.
Okay.
So
it went to the Methodist, United Methodist Church?
This widow, she wasn't Methodist. She was Catholic, but she took she was a widow, no children. Her cat died. She wanted to give it a nice funeral. She took it to the Catholic Church. Ma'am, no, sorry, we can't do this. They turned it down. She took it to a Pentecostal church. Same thing. Sorry, animals don't have souls. She took it to the Methodist church. They told her same thing. So, I'm sorry, man, we just can't this. And she goes, well, I have $20,000 that I've set aside for this funeral, and I just can't believe that any denomination doesn't want to take my cat's funeral. And he goes, oh, ma'am, I'm sorry. Sister, you didn't tell me he was a Methodist cat.
Oh. Yeah, that's funny.
Wow. Sorry.
Wow.
So I would believe that's obviously a joke.
Right.
But no, there are people out there. Look, how many older ladies do you know that are donating to those Save a Tiger Foundation? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
I know I worked with a guy that his mom, he went after she passed away, him and his brothers were a little upset because they found out that the last 5 years before her passing away, she spent they had sold some family farmland off and stuff, and she had spent over $100,000 on donations to Big Cat Foundation and shit.
Their money?
Yeah, their inheritance. She was blowing on PETA and shit. So I would believe it, dude. If they wanted to pay $100,000 to get their lovely fucking padoodle back, padoodle-door, whatever the fuck, labradoodle, they would do it.
A labradoodle. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Haven't you heard of those, Chef?
Yeah, no, I actually have, but I was kidding. If they were trying to clone this doodle of sorts, it's a
chimera.
Doodle.
Okay, thank you, Chef. That was my lame dad joke. Okay. Thank you, Chef, for catching on, brother.
I'm picking up what you're putting down, bro.
Thanks, bro. Tracking like a tank. All right, cool.
So there's this Boya Life group. Unless you guys got something else, Hank, Chef.
No, go ahead.
Chef, you good?
Yeah. I'm good. I'm kind of reading over some of these articles.
Which article are we on?
I'm on that News Australia technology science inside the world's biggest cloning factory in China and their plans to replicate humans and animals. This was reported December 1st of 2015 by News Corp Australia. Quote, the Chinese scientist behind the world's biggest cloning factory has technology advanced enough to replicate humans, he told AFP, and is only holding off for fear of public reaction. Now, isn't that a fucking sign of a sociopath or a psychopath right there?
Just a little bit.
No, dude.
Not that maybe it's unethical and it could cause all sorts of problems, but I think there'd be a bunch of public backlash.
I don't know, this Boya Life.
It was for science.
Kind of Nambla.
Nambla?
The North American Man-Boy Love Association.
South Park. Okay, yeah.
No, that's a real association.
What?
That exists. Sorry to burst your bubble. No, that's true. It's fucking sickening, I know. But yeah, that's something.
Oh, my.
Right? Don't worry. I just informed my wife's cousin today on a phone conversation that pedophiles exist within our government. There's been a lot of people that have been charged with it and stuff. He's like, what? That happens? I'm like, yeah. All that Epstein Island stuff? He's like, yeah. He's like, I thought those was just some Q shit. I'm like, no, that was real.
That's the purpose of the Q shit.
Yeah, that's how the Q guys got sucked into it.
It's happening. It's real life.
Yeah.
Wake up.
It's not a dream. It really happened.
Yep.
So
we are not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit.
So this BioLife group and its partners, to quote the article here, are building a giant plant in the northern Chinese port of Tianjin. Now, anybody familiar with Tianjin knows that it's called TEDA, the Tianjin Economic District, I believe. So it's like,
I'm not familiar.
So like U.S. manufacturing companies will offshore their Chinese market in Tianjin.
They got a lot of space and a lot of people.
Imagine kind of like a Hong Kong. So it's like its own independent district. I mean, the Chinese government obviously
ran by the
owns it.
CCP.
Well, of course, everything is, right?
Now.
But
thanks, Obama.
As of 2015, they claimed that these cattle are going to go into production. It was within 7 months, and the 1 million was going to be achieved by 2020, the 1 million cattle. But cattle are only the beginning, to quote the article, of Chief Executive Zhu Xiaoshun's ambitions.
So Chinese are already eating soulless animals?
Yeah, probably.
I didn't pop to attention just.
No wonder they were falling over dying a couple years ago.
So yeah, he claims that the technology is there. And if this is allowed, I don't think there are other companies better than BioLife that make better technology. So they want to clone humans. He's admitting
if they're not already doing it.
Yeah, which I think it's safe to say from a subjective perspective,
we'll get into that later on. But let's just be adults here.
Okay, how do we do that?
Like Tim Moon said, it's time to grow up. Yeah, it's time to act like adults.
So this article's 8 years old.
Right.
This was from 2015, and that's just got me thinking: did they clone Mao?
Probably.
What would have stopped them?
Yeah,
is that what happened? They just cloned Mao.
What if? We'll get into this later, though, once we get down towards it. But what if it could go deeper than that? What if? I don't know. I don't want to ruin anything right now, but
you're talking about the conclusion.
Not necessarily in the conclusion, but we went into Iraq, Mesopotamia.
Oh, yeah.
Allegedly found the burial place of Nimrod.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah.
really? Babylon. Okay.
See where I'm going here?
The giant killer.
The old Gilgamesh route.
The builder of the Tower of Babel, right? Yeah. See, I don't know.
Well,
like I said, we'll get into that later on. We're going to be talking about some other stuff, but I just think keep that in the back of your mind, dude. What if?
So the next article that I had actually is just going to get deeper and piggyback off of the BioLife group article. This is from the Daily Mail. And we don't have to be too textbook on this and follow. Frankly, I think that the discussion between all five of us would just be better anyway. But I'm trying to pull the date up here. This is July of 2002, folks. So,
ooh, wow.
Yeah. I summed up the article, Daily Mail, written by, I want to give credit where credit is due, no name, but July 5th, 2002.
Yeah.
Chinese
July
scientists
15th, sorry.
claim, they have cloned 30 human embryos in the southeastern city of Changsha at Jiangya Medical College. Quote, a handful of teams around the world say they are working on implanting a cloned embryo into a woman despite widespread revulsion, end quote. They've cloned human embryos. This says for 2 years. That's probably a misspeak on my part. But 5% of those last long enough to collect stem cells, folks. I got to go get rid of some of this coffee discussion.
So that's 20 fucking years ago, gentlemen.
Yeah, that article says that it would have last year, which would have been 2001, scientists in Massachusetts claimed to have produced the world's first human embryos for medical research.
Interesting. But yet we just read here that China was already beat us to the punch, or what?
Is that around the time that like stem cells started like? Because I remember hearing about.
Oh yeah,
them.
dude, and that was when Michael J. Fox, remember? Because he got the fucking Parkinson's or whatever.
Yeah,
the Michael J. Fox,
came
as
down
I
with
call
the
him now.
shakes.
Yeah, and he was out talking about stem cell research and how they were pulling it from aborted fetuses and how it could help everybody. Right?
And then
wasn't that around the same time? Do you guys remember that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Man, I'm trying to, but 2001, I was like 11.
I just remember hearing a lot about the stem cells and the stem cell research.
Yeah,
and
funding.
The funding, yep.
Yeah, there was
It was definitely something that got talked about a lot more back then.
Right. Well, and I think another part of the conversation was that Planned Parenthood was selling the aborted fetuses for stem cell research. And a lot of people were like, that's not right. Especially
and
like,
also, they were using that not only for stem cells, but they were also using that for vaccines as well.
Right. Yep. Which is so wild. And then apparently Pepsi was buying a bunch of them too.
Hey, so don't forget the Clintons. They needed their adrenochrome.
Well, I don't think that comes from aborted fetuses. I think that comes from a little bit fresher stock.
Real quick on that subject, I did just see Jim Caviezel, the guy that played Jesus in Passion of the Christ, and then he was in that Sound of Freedom movie. He said on The War Room, which is, what's that dude's name? He was
I saw that.
You know who I'm talking about? He's got The War Room. I can't remember. He was in Trump's administration for a while.
Dick Jarvis?
No. But he said that a barrel of crude oil, and Chef, you said that you heard this?
Yes, I just seen something on this, yes, where he was explaining adrenochrome and exactly what it was and where it came from.
Well, yeah, he said that a barrel of crude oil sells globally for like $70. Okay. A barrel of human matter sells for 70 grand.
Ooh.
So extremely profitable.
Wasn't that another part of the baby farm, the John of God thing?
Oh, fuck that, dude.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about him on the. So you guys, all right. So it's interesting that we're talking about this now, the adrenochrome thing. So we talked with Drew Misson about that this episode.
Shout out Drew.
Shout out Drew.
This episode's already going to be airing by the time everybody hears this. But in that, we were talking about adrenochrome and being in that movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. And so when I went and found the clip that I was specifically talking about, and then I started listening more into this, and then I was able to edit the audio a little bit and listen better. It's crazy. So, you know where the lawyer said he was the lawyer that gave Hunter S. Thompson
the pure adrenaline, right?
Right. When he asked him, where did you get this? How'd you get this? And he was like, some satanic freak. I'll play the clip again in this episode. It's
been so long since I've seen that movie.
And he's talking about it and how this guy also was offering human blood that would get you higher than you've ever been in your entire life. A bunch of all this other stuff.
I watched it years ago, man. I wasn't hip to all this stuff back then. Dude, that used to be teenager.
That used to be one of my favorite movies, man. I watched that tripping on some stuff one time. It was wild. Anyways,
right on.
I gotta find it
on DXM.
The tripping stuff or the movie?
It's
yes,
but no, it's really disturbing. And in there, he basically explains what happens, how he got this, and this guy that he got it from. The reason that this lawyer was representing him was because the satanic freak that he got the shit from. The lawyer was representing him, and his case was a child sodomy case. All right. And he's like, oh, I got him off, but he couldn't pay me, so this is how he repaid me, was with this adrenochrome. And I'm like, holy shit, dude.
What is this shit? That stuff makes pure mescaline seem like ginger beer, man. Adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome?
Where'd you get this? Never mind, it's absolutely pure. What kind of monster clan have you hooked up with this time? Satanism freak. I think there's only one source for this stuff. The, adrenaline gland from a living human body. I know. The guy didn't have any cash to pay me. He offered me human blood, said it would take me higher than I'd ever been in my life. Well, he was kidding. So I told him I'd just as soon have an ounce or so of pure adrenochrome. Or maybe just a fresh adrenaline gland to chew on.
I could already feel the stuff working on me. The first wave felt like a combination of mescaline and methadone. Maybe I should take a swim, I thought.
Yes, sir. They nailed this guy for child molesting. He swore he didn't do it. Why should I fuck with children, he said. They're too small. Christ, what could I say? Even a goddamn werewolf is entitled to legal counsel.
Wow. There's that disclosure that we talk about. They were telling us. We were just too young and naive to really understand what it meant until now.
Yeah. It's disturbing when I went back and looked at it, and I was like, holy smokes, bud. Anyways, this is the world we live in, right? And what we also talked about in that episode is I think that's part of, it's just, it's an unwritten rule of the universe. Well, it was a spoken rule. If you look back at the Bible, Yahweh said, I'm not going to do anything before I tell my prophets first. And I think when he spoke that became a reality for the opposing side, where they have to tell their prophets too and stuff. And then, but it's also like a mocking thing, right? They're throwing it in our faces that they're doing this shit. There's like some black magic behind that or something. I'm convinced of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gentlemen, shall we just move on to the next article here?
Yeah,
following your lead, Bob.
So, yeah, we're on the human cloning plans revealed, Daily Mail. I pulled this up, and it's giving me August 2001. Is that the date you guys are seeing online?
For Daily Mail, no. This is the July 2012. I'll go back to the other one here.
I'm starting to think that...
Hang on. I don't think I sent you this one, Chef.
Oh, okay.
I'm sending it to you now. I'm getting, August 7th, 2001.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. It's got, like, in the thumbnail, it's got a picture of...
can't be correct.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, that can't...
And,
this can't
Mr.
be correct.
Pfizer himself.
Mr. Pfizer, you watched Aaron Rodgers on the McAfee show, huh?
Yep, that was epic.
That was brilliant.
You don't even... It doesn't matter if you watch the show or not. You can't get away from any headline these days. It's going to find its way to you one way or another.
Right. So I don't think that 2001 is accurate. There is no name on this article, but it is from the dailymail.uk. It's got to be more recent. Anyway, my cliff notes on the article are as follows. Italian fertility doctor Professor Severino Antinori plans to use 8 British female volunteers to, quote, be impregnated with cloned embryos. The Italian Medical Association has already launched disciplinary action against Professor Antinori for his stated plans, which would also violate European cloning guidelines, end quote. The vice president of Rome's Medical Association claims Antinori would be barred from practicing in Italy. He says, quote, the sooner he, Antinori, is run out of town, the better, end quote. Campaigner Professor Jack Scarisbrick, National Director of Life. That's the guy who said that. But what we have now...
Hold on, this guy's official title is the National Director of Life?
I believe Life is like the name of an organization.
Still.
Oh, okay.
Isn't
like
it? Yeah, it's in a
acronym
weird...
or something.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Who you think you got, buddy?
So, 1,300 couples in the United States and 200 in Italy are research candidates. He plans to start in November. That's actually this year.
Chill out there, Mangala.
Yeah, no shit. In 1994, he enabled a 62-year-old woman to bear a child. Yep, Mangala. In 1996, he aided an unmarried British mother to bear twins.
That's really weird.
Which was a particular characteristic of Mangala's studies.
Of Mangala.
Yeah.
Yeah. Twin studies.
Yep.
So, man, this all just rhymes, and it's freaky.
Yeah, me personally, I don't know, dude, like most GMO shit, I just don't, when you're modifying genetics, it just creeps me the fuck out, to be honest.
Guess what, though, buddy? It's in everything. You can't, do you eat bread?
Yep, I eat tomato. I try to eat most stuff like my mom. Well, see, even then, right? I was going to say my mom has a garden next door. I live next to her. But if you're not paying attention to the tomato seeds that you're getting, those are more than likely genetically modified as well.
Yep.
Yeah, even if they say they're not GMO, you have to go through. I actually have a hookup that was given to me via Instagram where everything is completely organic, supposedly.
Yeah.
And non-GMO. But yeah, it's scary. It's scary because if you look at what they're doing with the fruit, right? If you get a GMO tomato or whatever vegetable or fruit we're talking about, and you save that seed, and you dry the seed out properly, and then you sow the seed, and you might only get 1 or 2 generations out of that plant.
Or you might get none, right?
or you might get none. But,
Yeah.
but if you think about it in like a human cloning aspect,
Oh yeah,
like you
That's a
can't
good point.
reproduce.
Yeah.
You can't reproduce. So then that would be obviously all in favor of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Bill Gates, the World Health Organization, and all that other shit.
Well, that's so that'd be like the mules, right? They can't reproduce.
Yeah.
The mixing of
Yeah.
the horse
Yep.
and the donkey.
Yep.
And then the ligers. So that's actually
Mm-hmm.
Jehovah Witnesses' argument against like Nephilim, the angels mixing with man and
Oh, that's not possible.
that they couldn't.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
That these giants couldn't have reproduced. Their bloodlines could not have passed down through generations because of a mule. Which I get. I mean, I guess I can see that.
So how do we
All right,
explain Ron Perlman?
Iraq.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny
This
that
is why we got this guy around.
It's funny that you would mention that that Nephilim DNA can't pass through a mule, because shout out to Jason and Christopher from Operation Red Pill. They just did a fantastic episode about the background of this whole Jew stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
But they were talking. They like to talk about how with the ancient Israelites, they were commanded by God to not have horses. Basically, they were not supposed to have an outward showing of military might, and that's why they rode donkeys. And that's why it was a big deal when Jesus came riding back into town on the donkey, because he was proclaiming that he was king of the Jews.
Right.
Yeah.
Right before he
And
was
so,
crucified.
I think there's you another little spider web tendril. You know, you say that Nephilim DNA can't pass through donkeys, which just so happens to be one of the most, upper echelon of animals as far as stature and civil status goes in the Judaism world.
Well, what they said was because a mule, which is the mixing between a horse and a donkey, mules cannot reproduce with other mules or other animals. They're sterile. And same thing with like ligers. When you mix a tiger and a lion,
Yeah.
they're sterile.
And
Like,
they're dumb.
yeah, they're extremely fucking
Well,
retarded.
in fact, they're not viable in the wild,
yeah,
but
so
their dimensions are impressive.
that's why they're like, oh man, you're working me like a government mule. It's 'cause-
Hank, Chef, have you guys ever seen one of those? A liger?
Not in person.
only on
No,
Joe,
not in
only on the Tiger King.
Well, yeah, like so when you take a male lion and it reproduces with a female tiger, you get like this 1,100-pound dumb cat.
Yeah,
That-
it's like I like Steph, and then it just headbutts a fucking pillar on a building. Boom. Yeah, they're cool
What
to
is it,
look
like
at.
something like that, like almost like the inbreeding defects.
Yes.
with us humans.
Yeah,
Yes,
they
that's
are not
exactly what happened.
They are. That's not one of them that you pulled
But-
up there, Iraq. But they're not viable in the wild.
Which I can understand that argument, but here's the other thing: this DNA, this sperm, this seed from the Nephilim, from these angels, these aliens, these extra-dimensional, extraterrestrial, whatever you want to call them. I think that is way more crazier than we can ever have of an understanding.
Oh yeah,
And I definitely believe that that seed, that bloodline, because the Word of God says, the Bible says, but it survived the flood through Noah's daughter-in-laws.
we have something that we're going to get to that
Okay.
will explain that.
In this episode?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just real quick, I just want to say it's funny that me and Kyle ended up having a conversation that dealt with this whole thing last week, not even knowing that tonight would end up in the same ballpark. That's crazy.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Segued into this.
Yeah, we were talking with one of Kyle's friends that I got to meet last weekend, and he had a question about, are the Nephilim still, the offspring of the Nephilim still around today, and all this stuff.
We're going to explain how that could happen, Hank. So,
All right.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Well,
All right.
carry on.
No,
I
that's
need to
really
go grab
cool that
me
you guys
another-
already segued into it with another episode. That's wild.
it's awesome, yeah. And we actually have some tentative plans to do an in-depth Nephilim episode ourselves. I think it's great that you guys have already.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't necessarily in depth. I gave Anthony my from what I know about this, about what I've learned through the years and what I personally believe. Now, that was just all, and I gave him the disclaimer that this is all just what I believe and that it's not necessarily right or wrong. I can't tell you that it's right. I like to believe that it's right, but
this is
like
my understanding, and
yeah.
That's why
I'm
I like
to go
to tell
grab me a
people.
beer. Y'all carry on right quick.
Right on.
All right, yeah.
Kyle, you got anything, brother?
Oh, sorry, I had to mute real quick. Not on that last one, no. But I do. I real quick.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have touched on this before, but this kind of does go into like cloning. I would say this, in my opinion, this might be like the earliest form of cloning. Have you guys heard of homunculus?
No. E-Rock, have you?
No.
Yeah, so I'll give you this quick little paragraph over here, but it's pretty crazy. It goes back like long time ago. But the homunculus first appears by name in alchemical writings attributed to Paracelsus from 1493 to 1541, and essentially it says that the sperm of a man be putrefied by itself in a sealed cucurbit for 40 days with the highest degree of putrefaction in a horse's womb, so a male sperm in a horse's womb, or at least so long that it comes to life and moves itself and stirs, which is easily observed. After this time, it would look somewhat like a human, but transparent without a body. So it's almost like these little demon soulless things that, and if you were to look this up now, like there's some YouTube videos where people are like taking DNA from other animals and injecting it in like the embryo of an egg. But the homunculus in itself could be a complete its own show. But I will send you guys the person to have on to talk about this, because this person is very knowledgeable about it. But anyhow, just while we're talking about clones, homunculus, homunculi, I mean, this goes back to the late to early 1400s to 1500s.
So
it's wild.
Medieval,
like a centaur
vessel. No, he's talking about using
not like a centaur, more like a
horse. Sorry,
a controllable being. Like it was like a servant. Like it had no will of its own. It had no thinking capacity. It was just you created it through this dark magic, necromancy, sorcery shit, and then you basically had a slave.
You give it a couple tasks, and it would complete those tasks.
Like Frankenstein's monster?
More or less, yeah.
Yep.
Or the cogs in Minority Report.
Well, Charles Darwin, and I just recently learned this and started looking into it. Charles Darwin's grandfather was into like necromancy.
Who did we talk to?
That was Drew Misson. Was that Misson's episode?
Yeah, Drew Misson. In fact, he said that it was Charles Darwin's grandfather or his father brought like some worm back to life. And that is where, and here's where Drew knows the name of the author and everything, and we should too, because this is kindergarten. But the author of Frankenstein got the idea.
Interesting. Yeah. So they got the idea from Charles Darwin's like grandfather or great grandfather.
Yes.
Who brought back a worm. Okay.
Leave it to the ginger to pull that fact out.
Well, he's got glasses too, so.
Real quick, also something about Charles Darwin that I wasn't aware of until recently is the full title of Origin of Species.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's pretty racist.
Yeah. On the origin of species, by means of natural selection or the preservation of favored races in the struggle for life. So it's actually like a eugenics document. Not even necessarily eugenics, but I mean, preferring certain races over others. And now he's celebrated in the university community, right? And
by everybody, yeah. He's like, he's a hero.
Hank has a beautiful voice, by the way, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
On the episode you did with Theo, the heat of the night.
Man, look,
the heat of the night one.
See what's happened when we were recording that. I heard it exactly how it sounded on the episode. It was beautiful.
So did I, my friend.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's one of my biggest attractions to y'all's show is all the fun post editing stuff, post recording stuff that y'all do. Like that really that grinds my gears right there. I like that.
That's
right,
TP's credit right there.
Hey man,
genius, dude, absolute genius.
Guys, I put my pants on just like the rest of you, one leg at a time. Except once my pants are on, I make gold records.
Whoa, don't be giving me too much credit, dude. Just
You fucked up. You trusted us.
No, I appreciate it. I really do. But yeah, hey, like I said, like I remember old school radio shows, local ones around here that used to do that stuff and have like the sound effects or whatever. But I don't know. Also, I've noticed a lot of podcasts that we listen or that I listen to didn't do it, so we didn't want to just
definitely it's unique to y'all. Not that I can't think of another show that I listen to that does anything like it.
Thanks, man. I mean, I'd have to say our Big Dumb Mouth, OBDM, that podcast, they do that too and stuff, but they do it live. Like he's got like a board and everything Soundboard, and stuff. Wow. Yeah. So, and they're pretty good with it. We're not good enough that way. I got to do it post editing, Oh, but yeah. We appreciate it, man. And that's something also I think is really unique about yours too, is the sports and conspiracies.
Yeah, that's a really cool format, and it's unique.
It's a niche. Yeah, it's out there.
That's what we were hoping for when my original co-host Ryan and myself first started it. Was nobody talks conspiracy and baseball. Like that's going to be us.
Yeah,
because we were like, we could talk sports during the week and then have a conspiracy show on the weekend, and then unfortunately he ended up leaving us too soon, and we made it through that whole ordeal, and we're we're still hanging around. I feel like I'm finally hitting my stride without him. There for a long time, it got really hard to even want to keep doing it, but
I can imagine, dude. And you know what, man? Here's one for Ryan.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Love you, brother.
This is for Ryan.
For Ryan.
Rest in peace.
But yeah. So, what are we getting into next?
Well,
what article are we going to dive into? Because I'm going to let you know, man. When you first said we were going to talk about chimeras, I was like, cool, because I really don't know that much about it. This would be a great opportunity to learn. And then you started popping off with these links and stuff, and I didn't dive into all of them because I wanted to leave some of it to be fresh reaction.
You're good.
And the more we're reading into it, the more nervous I'm kind of getting. Well, I was like, hold on. First, we started talking about sheep, and we went to humans real fucking quick.
Well, yeah. I need to get back.
This shit escalated real quick.
Do you know why Scottish wear kilts?
to get back to the original article.
Well, why, Iraq?
Because sheep can hear zippers from a mile away.
I feel like that should be like a Taliban joke too, but instead of sheep, goats. Yeah,
yeah, that was my research for this. And then you know why they fuck them by the cliff, the edge of a cliff?
No.
So they push back.
Damn, Iraq.
My day has been made.
I did my part.
I did my part. That was the extent of his research too. He said
it's all good. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Hey man, we keep this man around for a reason, all right?
E-Rock's the man.
Yeah, you are, dude. It's fun. It's more fun when you're around, E-Rock. I'm just gonna tell you that. All right.
So
he fucking died.
we are gonna get more into Chimera here in just 1 minute. I did want to mention that in 2015. Congress passed a bill. It eventually passed in some sort of omnibus bullshit.
Yeah.
As it always does.
Of course.
It was called the Human Cloning Prohibition Act of 2105.
Yep.
But they sicked that. They meant 2015. And Congress officially banned human cloning. But
I talked about that on the missing.
They don't give a fuck. That doesn't mean the CIA.
Dude.
That means that the peasants, us.
Yeah,
we're not allowed to do it.
We're not allowed, but behind closed doors, they can do it for As long as it's helping out with the cow farts and the climate change, good to go.
And we're gonna have to get into this too. It's DNA manipulation, dude. That's a real thing nowadays.
Abominations.
Whoever the lead technician on the Biden clone, they ought to get fired and taken out back and euthanized, because I don't know what's going on with that man's chin.
Yeah, that ball chin, testicle chin,
out of nowhere, looks like it's starting to open up like off a predator or some shit.
You one ugly motherfucker.
Dude, hey man, from what I read on the internet and from like NBC and CNN, those are common traits of a facelift, okay?
Oh.
Yeah.
Over the weekend?
Yeah, dude, it happens, and he had no recovery. Because he's a man, just like he said. I mean, he was going to wrap a chain around Corn Pop's head, dude. Right after those little kids ran their hands up and down his legs in the pool. Y'all remember that?
Watch the hairs come back up again.
Nobody did that to you, dude. And if they did, if I was the parent, if my kid was doing that to a lifeguard at the pool,
that's fucking weird.
I would make my child stop, and I would report that fucking lifeguard. Nowadays,
somebody's getting their ass whooped that day.
You just got to hold them underwater for about 10 seconds just so the panic sets in. And then when they get up, you're like, don't ever fucking do that again. This is your warning.
Well, maybe back in
to go sniffing and nibbling on kids.
Dude
nibbled on a kid, man.
Yeah.
Like a horse.
This is the
Like a
world
horse.
that we live in, gentlemen. I blame. Hey, you know what, Hank? You mentioned something on one of our posts on Instagram, and I have to agree with you, dude. Since they turned on that Large Hadron Collider, things have been getting weird.
Oh, over in CERN?
Yeah. Since CERN,
what was that? 2016.
Geneva, Switzerland.
I think the first startup was in 2012. They had problems, and then they had to reboot it in like 2016, 2015, 2016.
Smashing atoms.
They like successfully ran their test was like 15 or 16. Yeah.
And
they split the timeline, man. They kicked some of us into an alternate timeline.
We should, you know what? We should do an episode on that, because there's a lot of weird stuff around there. And the scientists were doing that dance of Geneva, or what's that?
Nataraja, or Shiva, the cosmic dancer, symbolizes the natural flow of divine energy. He takes part in Rudratandava, a dance representing destruction and rebirth, to reshape time and space, with his wild thunderstorms. This destructive force can also be seen as constructive, by generating new life from death, represented by Shiva's skull crown, signifying conquest over death. Unveiled in 2004, the statue is considered part of an artful and symbolic gift from India, and honors CERN's long-standing status by courting and collaborating with the country's finest and brightest, which started in the 1960s, and continues to this day.
Hindu goddess.
Oh, I don't know.
They have the statue outside.
Ganesh?
No, the Hindu goddess of destruction. They have the statue outside of their headquarters there in Geneva at CERN.
Yeah.
And they did a whole ceremony. They've actually done multiple ceremonies at CERN prior to restarting the
particle collider.
The Large Hadron Collider.
Kali? Is that the god?
No. I thought it was with a G. Is it the one with the circle?
Is it Shiva?
Shiva, thank you. Yes, yep, you got it, buddy.
The multi-armed one?
Yeah, 6 arms.
Yeah.
Ring of fire around her, doing her dance of destruction.
If I were to ask y'all, just shoot off the hip, which first, second, third, or fourth Thursday of the month is Thanksgiving on? What would y'all say?
Isn't it like the third? Second to last Thursday of the month?
Well, because you asked, I'm going to say it's the 5th.
Oh, so Kyle and we've got at least 3 people that the immediate reaction is the third Thursday of November is Thanksgiving. Guys, it's not.
It's the last, right?
In this timeline, yeah, apparently it's the 4th Thursday of the month, and I don't remember it ever being as such. Like I this is something that when I heard, I can't remember who I was listening to today, but they said they brought this up, and apparently it's not the third Thursday of the month, but like this is something I vehemently believe within my soul. Like this is right next to thou shalt not kill. Thanksgiving's on the third Thursday, and I don't know what to do with myself. And this leads me further to believe that the timeline was seriously split, but not everybody got sent to this alternate timeline, because there's people that never recall the Mandela Effect or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? There's always people who, no, it's never been the Bernstein Bears. It's never been Monocle Guy with the Monopoly. I remember Jiffy peanut butter.
What are you saying? Jiffy peanut butter never existed?
No, apparently it's always been Jif.
What?
No.
Blasphemy.
I remember Fruit of the Loom having a cornucopia.
Back in the 90s it was Jiffy. Kids choose Jiffy. Right?
See?
I'm lost.
Wasn't that the
because I never
commercial?
knew anything other than Jiffy.
Right.
Exactly.
So
you're saying I'm here, Hank? You're saying I am here?
I think you're right.
We're in this alternate fucking timeline, man.
Maybe that's those who have eyes to see is our gift.
But see, maybe and if the timeline was split, maybe God put certain of us here, and I'm saying I'm one of them, because I think that'd be a little conceited to say that God put me here for a reason, like I'm special or something. But like, what if among the people that were placed in this timeline, we're here to, I don't know, maybe it's for more than just remembering crazy shit.
So there's something I want to do.
Maybe we're cloned.
I know this is getting a little off.
We're living in a cloned universe.
We're living in Aeon Flux.
Fuck, dude.
But I have the last job that I worked at. There's this guy that comes in all the time.
Was it Jiffy Lube?
Dude, this is actually kind of crazy, man. It's pretty crazy. So he rolls in, he's got no legs, and he rolls in on an electric skateboard.
Hell yeah.
And he hops himself up, and I was talking to my buddy one day, and he goes, "Do you know who that is?" I was like, "I don't have a fucking clue." So this guy that comes in every single day and orders the same fucking pizza every single day played the role of E.T.
What?
Yes.
The benefits of living in Southern California.
Your phone home.
One of them. One of the very few. But I want to ask him regarding the Mandela Effect was it E.T. phone home or E.T. home phone? Because he's the one that fucking said it. Well, I don't know if it was actually him, but he was in the suit.
Right.
I think that he would remember. So that is a goal of mine, and hopefully I'll get the fucking balls to go back to my old job and ask this dude.
What did old Vader say?
If you go in there as a customer, dude, there's no harm, no foul. Why not?
True, I'm not working there, so I'm not exactly.
Yeah,
like
just
that.
go there to order some pizza when you know he's going to be there, and just be like, "Hey, man."
Hank, are you talking about
Luke? I am your father.
And apparently it's
no. I am your father.
Oh.
Now you tell me which
and
one's
Luke,
right, because
Luke,
I know
am
it
your
ain't
father is from Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I interrupt Happy Time?
What?
It's from Star Wars. I know. So, I don't know, man.
What if we are? What if we are the clones?
We'd be the last to know.
We would be, yeah, just like the Marine Corps, dude. The first to go and the last to know.
What if we fuck around into like some Westworld type shit where we accidentally sneak up on our clone bodies in storage?
All right, before we get back into this clone business, because we're going to continue with the articles that we got here, just food for thought, I guess. What if we are already in the post-apocalyptic universe?
That's deep.
Moving forward, just think about that for a minute as we continue on with this article. Okay.
You gentlemen have anything else?
I mean, if
gents.
You describe the national events throughout the world. I can't call them global. The planular, because we're not round.
International.
But, yeah, the
I like
international. There's a good word. international events to somebody that, let's just say there was a person from another world that never heard of Earth, and they show up and they're like, what's the 90-second rundown? And you tell them what the hell's going on today, they'd probably describe it as pretty post-apocalyptical.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like something got broken along the way here.
And it happened right under our noses.
Yeah.
Just real slick, like shit went from being real gravy to real not gravy.
Right.
Just seemingly overnight.
I don't know. I was jerking off to fucking JCPenney's catalogs, and now we have fucking porn on your phone, so...
But don't you see...
Unless you're like me and you live in Arkansas, then you have to create an account so that you can log in.
You don't get free porn there?
So no, just on the hub.
That's
just
interesting.
On the hub. They
don't
passed
you understand,
legislation that you can't get on Pornhub without being 18 or older in Arkansas.
Okay, but that's another destruction of the masculine warrior males of this country.
Oh, sure it is.
That's stealing your fucking mojo, dude. Just like an Austin Powers.
Absolutely.
Crikey! I've lost my mojo!
Absolutely, and I think it also it literally changes the wires in your brain, and
dopamine
makes the real thing unattractive because you've got this false conception.
They have
of what it should be.
They have a massive problem in Japan with this.
Yes,
that they're not reproducing fast enough because dudes are playing video games
and
then
jerking
they're just
off to cartoons.
Yeah, cranking one out to some anime. They're not leaving their apartment.
I think that's where this whole furry thing started.
Yes,
as a response to the.
Oh yeah, no, dude.
problem.
I had a couple buddies in the Marine Corps that were stationed over in Okinawa before they were at Camp Lejeune, and they said, yeah, there's stores, and my one buddy said he had a roommate that was all about it, dude, and he'd come back to the room and this dude's like just beating it in his rack to some anime porn, these books, the mangas. No. And he's like, all right, dude, like next time put a fucking sign up on the door so I don't walk in on you doing this.
Now, hold on. Oh, go ahead, E-Rock.
Oh, did you ever see the Simpsons ones?
What?
The pornos?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. They have Disney ones. They have all types of messed up stuff.
Back in the AOL days,
Welcome.
No.
You have to go to the Pix chat.
Yeah. When you're going to Newgrounds.
What the fuck is this?
Where you get that 90-day free trial disc in the mail.
Oh, yeah.
But, okay, so they saw, when we were growing up, they saw the advantage of that. That's also when you could download porno from like LimeWire and Pirate Bay and stuff, right? The torrents and stuff. Okay.
Yep. Morpheus, let's go.
Yeah, yep. And like I said, I think that was intentional to release that publicly to allow all this stuff to go out there. They find out who the real perverts are
now.
Yeah. They find out who the real perverts are. They're the ones that are actually like downloading stuff and buying subscriptions to websites and paying these girls on these cam things.
They took it from the phone hotlines and put it online.
The 900 numbers on USA channel.
Yep, you don't have to do.
You have to look at the squiggly lines on the Spice channel.
Right after MacGyver.
Cyber sex, dude.
No. Right after MacGyver, you can get on 1-900 cocklick.
Yeah. So these guys, but they found out you have more of the population jerking off.
Right. But what I wanted to say, hold on though, is you're talking about Okinawa. We have this problem in Japan. You're talking about like the most advanced warrior culture on the face of the earth.
Oh,
and now look at them.
We broke that fucking country, dude. Absolutely.
Well, yeah,
the samurai warriors,
2 atom bombs and porn.
Well, I was about to say, yeah, you drop a couple of big bombs on them,
and then we came in. Because you got to think about this though, also, dude.
And tell them
the mentality.
You're about to sign this piece of paper that says you're never allowed to have a military again, or we're going to come back with some more of these bombs.
It goes deeper than that. And listen, this is 80 years ago. Okay, this is less than 100 years ago. The people of Japan at that time still believed that their emperor was a god.
A god, yes,
on Earth. Okay,
they actually still called themselves Nippon up until
now
right before. It was like at the time of Pearl Harbor, they still called themselves Nippon, didn't they?
Yes, and they did. And it's really fucked up because I heard about that and I went to look in it, and you know what Nippon is now? It's like some fucked up anime porn shit or something, dude. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's
So
why
they even
like
took-
one of the biggest, our military men and Americans, we love us some good racial slang. That's where the slang nips came from.
Yep.
Jeez.
Yep.
These were Nipponese.
Yeah.
People.
And then we even the American government took that word and turned it into some fucking degenerate form of pornography.
Can't tell me that wasn't some
that wasn't by accident,
or down
dude.
the line process from some paperclip
We
guys.
completely
Paperclip
Yeah.
episodes 36 and 37.
Dude, yeah, we completely took generational warrior cultures and fucking destroyed it.
You bet.
Well, look at on the same level. Look at what happened in like the Koreas and Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, that whole area. That's where transsexualism really ran rampant, especially around the time of the Vietnam and the Korean Wars, because all of their men were gone,
Yeah.
or all of the they all
A good
that was,
portion of them.
Yeah, and the men that were left, all they had, like all the kids were being raised by women, and so you had like a whole generation of children that never had a parental figure, or a father figure rather, and so that was the
That's
norm.
where Lady Boys came from?
Thailand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole other.
So where did Tub Girl come from?
Tub Girl?
Okay,
I'm sorry,
dude.
I'm unfamiliar.
Okay, don't Google it.
Please
Q
don't.
Jeeves.
Please don't.
I want to hear Jeeves tell me about this one.
Tub Girl is an old viral image that used to be shared back in the glory days of the internet. It is an image of an Asian woman, in a tub, in the pile driver position, spewing fecal matter all over herself. No one knows the origins of the image, or where it came from, or even who this woman is.
All right. So guys, if I may, we are.
Let's continue.
Yeah,
please.
we're almost through.
We don't
We're almost through.
Yeah.
The information
way off the beaten path.
and then I'm going to pose a question at the end of that for all of us, and if that's all right.
Absolutely.
All good, baby.
All right. So we're getting into the chimera portion of this, out of the cloning and into the chimera. Okay.
Well, okay, hold on. Before we get into that, though, I want to go back to my original, not my original, but think about when we went to Iraq. Allegedly, they found the tomb of Gilgamesh, of a Nimrod. Okay.
Yep.
So with this cloning technology, what if we have been, and already are having, been cloning actual Nimrod himself, and then performing rituals similar to some Aleister Crowley shit in the King's Tomb in Egypt of possession, and maybe the Antichrist of the end times written in Revelation is actually going to be a clone of Nimrod himself.
Wow.
I don't know.
But
Food for thought.
Holy shit.
Well,
because Nimrod was the one who was in charge when they were building the Tower of Babel.
Yes, sir.
That's
and,
right.
And it wasn't about the
If
height
you-
of the tower. It was about what was in their hearts, where they were saying, we
It
are going
was
to
the
make
knowledge
war
that
against
they
the
were-
Most High.
It was what they were doing in
Yes.
that tower.
What they were doing and their intention. Their intention was actually to enter the kingdom of Yahweh and make war against
But-
him.
Yes. They were see, this goes right back into what, on the last episode on my show, me and Kyle and his friend Anthony, we ended up talking about this kind of in a sense, and I got to talking about how there's knowledge out there. Like we as humans are in the same position that Adam and Eve was in the Garden of Eden. We are presented with the fact that there is a knowledge that is obtainable, but we are not supposed to obtain it. We're
Yes.
supposed to wait until we pass from this mortal life, and then it will be given to us. It makes sense that these cats in the Tower of Babel were trying to obtain a knowledge that was not meant for them, and so then you continue on down with it all. To me, I can see it all. Just
You're on the right path. You're on the right path. Because think about this also. The Tower of Babel was post-flood. And what did the fallen angels do? Not only did they mate with the sons of man, are the daughters of man. Nice. Well, they made it with sons of man as well, but they didn't really
They
make them.
tempted them with knowledge.
Not only tempted, they gave them knowledge, right?
Yeah, pharmaceuticals.
And we're still taught this in elementary school, dude, about the Grecian and Roman gods and how they came down to earth and taught men this knowledge.
Ooh.
And and elementary school, they're like, this is just stories, but we want you to know about them for some godforsaken reason. And then when you go to our capital, what do you have?
Monuments
Roman
to
gods
death
everywhere.
Yeah.
Which, if you know your Greek and Roman mythology, then you know that the Greek goddess Venus, who is also the Roman god Jupiter, which is also the pagan god Moloch, which is also the other pagan deity Remphan, whose star is on the flag of Israel.
Yes, and our politicians go to Bohemian Grove and burn an quote unquote
To who?
effigy to Moloch every year. The cremation of care. You are on the right path. Yeah,
Tell me
absolutely.
this shit ain't all connected.
No, we're wild conspiracy theorists smoking dope.
Yeah, don't listen to my redneck ass. I'm just from Arkansas.
Yeah,
Blue Pig Suey.
I work with my hands, so I clearly don't know shit about fuck.
Yeah, I hit a metal with hammer all day.
Yeah, this is above my pay grade.
You just offended Hank with your shitty Southern accent.
Oh, was that
asshole.
offensive, Hank?
I am not offended at all.
All right, good, man. I'm
Quit
glad.
being a liberal. Quit telling me that I'm offended.
Yeah. Don't, he's a grown man. He can speak for himself, Theo. Why you fucking quit showing your white supremacy, motherfucker? Quit oppressing him with your white supremacy, bitch.
Damn it.
Look at that white man trying to
so
fucking talk for him. Man. I'm sorry. Anyways, so
January 2016 or 26th of 2017, gentlemen.
Moving into the chimeras.
Now, this is National Geographic. Juan Carlos Ispisua Belmonte,
Jeeves will clean that up for you.
professor at Salk Institute's Expression Laboratory in California. I believe it's in between San Diego and LA, so somewhere in like Oceanside or some shit like that, right?
You know where that's at, Chef?
Yeah, I know exactly where that's at.
All right.
And his group used previous research on growing rat pancreatic tissue within a mouse to create a human-animal chimera. CRISPR was used, which is a genome editing tool to delete genes from mice, and then added rat stem cells to successfully produce organs. I think I mistyped some shit there.
No, you're good. Have you guys ever heard of CRISPR?
Yeah, and I'm glad y'all actually brought CRISPR up because TP, I had just sent you and Chef an article about 30 minutes ago that whenever we run out of articles, it falls right into line with what we're talking about. But yeah, I'm very familiar with CRISPR. It's what they actually use to finally complete the human genome project, if I'm not mistaken.
For our listeners, CRISPR is an acronym, clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats. Okay? It is a technology that research scientists use to selectively modify the DNA of living organisms. CRISPR was adapted for use in the laboratory from naturally occurring genome editing systems found in bacteria. Now, one thing that Professor Belmonte found was that if timed correctly, human stem cells could successfully be injected into pig embryos. Now get this, out of 186, quote, later stage chimeric embryos, end quote, that survived, each had about 1/100,000th of human cells.
Those were on the rats, correct? From that article you're talking about.
Pig. Injected into pig embryos.
Yeah, the pig.
All right?
Okay.
Now there's
Yep. Going back to the CRISPR thing. So, Hank, you want to bring that article up that you shared with us? Because I think we should hit on it now. Because CRISPR is very important. Because with the CRISPR technology, nowadays, the elitists of the world, if you have enough money, you can go in and you can, just like a video game, dude, I want my kid to have this type of nose, this type of chin, this type of IQ, this high of an IQ.
You can play God?
Yes. And they've been doing this since the early mid 2010s, dude. Okay. So looking at those implications now, these children are roughly anywhere from 7 to 10 years old now. Right?
It's freaky.
Chances are in the next 10 to 15 years, maybe 20 years, we're going to be seeing, and we unbeknownst to us, some of these CRISPR children, CRISPR babies. They're called designer babies.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We're going to be seeing them. Their blonde hair, blue eyes.
Imagine that.
The Gucci babies, the Prada babies.
Up on political stages.
A
and they're gonna
master
have,
race.
Yes. And they're going to have IQs that just make, I mean, we already look like dumbasses, right?
Like fucking idiocracy.
Yes.
Cue the Deliverance music.
Yeah. But anyways, Hank, you want to
Sure.
Run that article.
This is an article from June 26th of 2023, and it's from bioexplorer.net, and the headline for it is Woolly Mammoth Clone Project, Can It Be Resurrected? The first article that we discussed tonight, we stopped one paragraph shy of where it went on to say, and that was from, 2005, that first article was
something like that
in there.
That could have been wrong.
And so
though.
that article was saying that they were exploring the possibilities of reviving
2016.
Extinct species.
Yeah.
And so here we go in 2023. They're talking about bringing back the woolly mammoth as well as other birds, amphibians, and reptiles.
I remember seeing that a couple years ago. Yeah.
The passenger pigeon and the woolly mammoth are top priority.
And they even talked about possibly bringing back the saber-toothed tiger as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So basically what they're wanting to do is, through the use of CRISPR, is they're wanting to reconstruct woolly mammoth DNA, and we know we have plenty of woolly mammoth DNA to go around.
And we have their close cousin, the elephant.
Sure. If anybody's interested in the Instagram page, the Boneyard, Alaska.
Yes.
This cat was he was on Joe Rogan a couple of times. I forget his name, but he's an old Texas boy that went through the military and wound up in Alaska and has purchased some land and started digging on this land and has found this. He calls it the pit, but it's this a block of land where it's nothing but woolly mammoth tusks, bones, saber-toothed tiger teeth and claws and bones, like shit that scientists refuse to acknowledge should be where he's at. It's there.
It's almost like they all settled in one portion because a massive amount of water pushed them to a small or a lowland region.
Right. So we know that the scientific community and the powers that be have access to authentic DNA from the woolly mammoth. Well, what they're wanting to do is to use CRISPR to pretty much recreate a viable DNA specimen of the woolly mammoth, and they're wanting to impregnate a female elephant with this DNA, and they're wanting to let the elephant bring a woolly mammoth baby to term.
Crazy, dude. It's
and this is from 2020. Like this was June.
That's some Jurassic Park shit.
This fossilized tree sap, which we call amber, waited for millions of years with the mosquito inside until Jurassic Park scientists came along. Using sophisticated techniques, they extract the preserved blood from the mosquito and, bingo, dino DNA.
Yeah.
Dino DNA.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. It's wild, dude. And that's definitely, how's that not playing God? Right?
It is. That's exactly what it is. That's what disturbs me.
I think we're way in over our heads. We are far beyond trying to play God. I think what we are doing has serious international consequences.
Well, species consequences.
I don't think that this stops with endangered species. They've been genetically modifying every single crop that gets planted for decades now.
Yep.
It's every food that you buy off, every piece of food you buy off the shelf is in some shape, way, form, or fashion altered. Nothing is truly organic or natural anymore. even if you grow it in the ground yourself, you know for damn sure that it's not a GMO seed. There's still contaminants in the ground. So we're never safe from anything. And then you go to thinking, well, what if they really are trying to fucking clone Nimrod? And then you start looking at the global events. I hate that word, but the international events and what Nimrod had going on with all this cloning and stuff. And you just are like, Jesus Christ, please come on back, bro, because
we need you now.
Man.
Yeah, it's
it's
wild
not
where this is leading to
until we're all dead.
Well, here is where some of it is leading to presently. Okay.
Yeah, let's continue on with this. Are you done on that? Making your point on CRISPR, because that was a really good one. That was a good one.
Chef, you good, brother?
Yeah. I'm golden.
All right.
Like a shower.
I'll try to get through this quick. April 14th, 2021, at the Salt Institute again, the first human-monkey chimera was successfully created. Embryos lasted 20 days, and development in these critical early stages was studied. Belmonte intends to, quote, learn the language of early human embryo development using monkeys. Okay, that's from Time. I got that from Time magazine.
The motherfucking Time.
Yeah, motherfucking Time.
The motherfucking time!
The one that had Hitler on the cover is the 38 or 39 Man of the Year. What sort of chimeras are they reporting to us, at least, that they've created? Well, we've already learned about human-monkey, human-pig chimera, okay? I've got one here that I'm going to read last.
And sheep
and we need to put a bookmark.
Spider chimeras.
We need to put a bookmark on this one, okay? We have viruses. We have human-mouse chimera, okay? But there are also naturally occurring, and here's the bookmark, gentlemen, human-to-human chimera, okay? What was that? This is from The Guardian, August 11th, 2019. Quote, chimeras also exist in the natural world. There have been a number of documented human cases. Most recently, American singer Taylor Mull discovered she was carrying genetic material from her fraternal twin sister, whose egg had fused with hers in her mother's womb. This explains a large section of darker skin on her torso. It comes from her sister's DNA.
So essentially, her embryo, her cells ate her sister.
Well, they absorb.
This was a Stephen King book.
And you can have an individual and actually extract completely different DNA from certain parts of their body. Bookmark that.
What was her last name? Taylor.
M-U-H-L. Taylor Mull.
Taylor
Mule.
Mule. Interesting, right?
Yeah. So here's just the conclusion of the notes that I took. Okay. I recently came across this video from an online personality named Pseudo Civilian. I found this on Twitter. Maybe you guys have seen the video. He made it on an interesting subject, unrelated to that which we've discussed tonight. However, it still applies to an alarming degree. He holds in his hand in this video a Garmin titanium puck or watch.
Don't try and church it up, son.
That includes technologies he lists as touchscreen, a compass, a gyroscope, a barometer, an altimeter, an accelerometer, a thermometer, and 4 GPS modes. The same piece can measure heart rate, breath rate, and blood oxygen. This, of course, is all linked and uploaded to the internet. They can measure this, folks. And then someone has remote access to all that. Okay? This thing has a 30-day battery life as well. The second quick example here is Generation 3 night vision goggles. They were developed in the 1980s. And you can get online at Optics Planet and buy those for a few grand. Okay?
Are those the ones that are in the red filter instead of green?
I'm not sure what the Gen 3 is. TP stepped away to take a pee, and he would be able to answer that.
Okay, well, I heard an episode, and it might have been on Joe Rogan. And I know that everybody can throw shade at Rogan and call him controlled op, but he had a guest on that was talking about in the early days of the Vietnam War, there was night vision that was assigned to your helicopter crews.
MACV-SOC or whatever they call that. outfit,
and they were. I can't remember exactly what he called them, but they were in a red spectrum instead of a green spectrum.
Okay.
And
red spectrum, are Gen 3 green spectrum or red spectrum? Night vision.
I believe they're green. Okay. I'm pretty sure they're green.
Well, the thing with the
all
red
generations
was
of NVGs suck. I'm just going to say that.
They were talking, this guy was saying that his dad was one of the ones that was first issued these red spectrum night vision goggles, and that when they would go out on their night runs in these choppers, and the pilots, the door gunner, they all had these red spectrum, they would see entities flying out of the canopies of the trees, and like when they took the night vision off and like hit a spotlight or whatever, there was nothing there. Like gunners would start firing at what was seemingly nothing, but if you were looking out through these red spectrum night vision goggles, then you were seeing like almost what would be described as demonic entities.
That's interesting because my brother from another mother, I'd have to look into this to confirm it, but he was telling me about apparently there's a certain color hue that is prohibited from being put into goggles and glasses and stuff because it can see a certain spectrum.
I would imagine it's red.
Some type of red. Yeah, he said it was like a purple or blue. So red. I mean, it could, yeah, I don't know.
Red mixed with something else.
But, because remember back in the early 2000s, it was the big rave where they started having different shades of like aviators and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. And pit vipers and stuff started coming out with different shades in their glasses, and
sure.
And there's some glasses that help you, and we had a lot of guys ballistic glasses that when you put them on, it helps sharpen images of what you're looking at, right? So I don't know.
Well, and then what do you what's the common phrase for seeing things with a biased perception? Looking through rose-colored glasses.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Interesting.
Well,
very interesting.
We've learned also about a piece of technology that is like 60 years old, okay? And that is from the CIA spy plane, the Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird. That was developed and flown in the 60s, all right? And it could read the headline of a newspaper of Pravda in the Soviet Union from 85,000 feet. All right,
above.
So, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So are we foolish enough to believe that the U.S. government just stopped there? And then furthermore,
and remember the Blackbird was it was a top secret project for so long.
It wasn't actually an Air Force plane; it was a CIA plane.
And NASA was involved in the development of it as well, correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
But how much has changed and advanced technologically since the 60s, 80s, and then go back even further? The atomic weaponry that we talked about earlier that was used on the utterly defeated and vulnerable population of Japan in 1945.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So modern science has seemingly begun to crack the code of biological development, trading genes among species, hosting and culturing one animal's genes inside another. We mentioned CRISPR. Okay? They're using this to harvest organs and whatnot from a pig that can be used in a human. Okay. All sorts of...
And like I said, designer babies.
Yeah. All sorts of ethical questions and whatnot. Okay. That normal people are like, should we be doing this? All right. And then they can finally cure cancer and Alzheimer's and dementia and diabetes with this stuff. All right. Or you can prevent the 22 people a day that are dying on the waiting list for an organ. You can prevent them from dying with an organ that was grown in a pig. All right.
Sure.
But where there is life, there will be death. And we know that many, if not most of the advancements in technology are developed for the purpose of death. So take the internet, for example. All right. That was created during the Vietnam War for the ease of timely communication by the military.
Well, supposedly CERN were the first ones to create
the Jeep.
The internet.
Duct tape.
I thought it was Al Gore. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, it's Bill Clinton.
Super glue, synthetic rubber.
Bear pig.
Buna. Buna. We talked about Buna, synthetic rubber that was developed by the Nazis.
Yes.
Because they couldn't get enough rubber from around the equator.
The imports.
The EpiPen, that's another military development. Everything I just named there. All right? These technologies that are taken for granted on a day-to-day basis were created for, in one way, shape, or form for a single end goal, to expedite death. All right? So is it so far-fetched to believe that cloning and chimera technology haven't been developed and used by certain organizations for the same thing? If the powers that be funded sheep cloning in the 90s and in the present day are disclosing technologies like CRISPR, how far are we really to believe that they have advanced? And there's the script, guys. I'm done. I'm over.
Mic drop.
Wow. Yeah, no, that was very well said, and that almost makes me think right now, like my immediate reaction is, I know this kind of seems a little off topic, but like I think the moon landing was an entire fucking psyop.
Oh yeah.
Because
yeah.
I mean,
I think you're correct.
The fact that they literally say that we lost that technology, and then you go back to everything that you just did.
Oh,
you know
we
what I mean?
lost
Like,
it.
But it's the fact.
Dude. No, the fact is that was allegedly the most the highest achievement of mankind. We put human beings on a foreign body, we lost the original footage and the technology to get back there. You're right.
But it just shows that the technology that we have had within the last 100 years, like, they're hiding this shit from us, and that's why I think the moon landing, the whole thing was a psyop, because, fuck, who knows, dude? We could have been to the moon.
Right.
And we just didn't have the correct footage, because if our technology is what it is now, or is what it was, 50, 60 years ago, and then you get into the chimera, and then you get into the CRISPR, like, it's almost like, that new iPhone 15 Pro, that was probably developed in the 90s, and we're just getting it now.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of being a smart ass a little bit there, but in the same sense, the technology is there, and again, what you had said about, a lot of this is designed to expedite death.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, kind of oddly enough, I was chatting the other day with, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Ryan Alexander, but he's
familiar with the name.
I reached out to him. Yeah, so he's been on like Monday Night Master Debaters a few times, and he was recommended to me.
Master Debater, all right.
Master Debaters.
Hey, now y'all chill out.
Settle down. Settle the fuck down.
Sorry, I'm getting excited over here.
I'm getting a little excited too.
All right.
But I was talking to him about some health questions for my fiance, because she's diabetic and her kidneys are failing, and he had mentioned like what drugs I'm going to call them drugs that she was prescribed, and he actually has a video on like the 2 worst pharmaceuticals you can possibly take, and it just so happens one of them is a cholesterol drug.
Huh.
So they probably spent millions and millions of dollars in funds and studies and whatnot to create this cholesterol drug to give to patients, to give them the illusion that your cholesterol is going down, when in reality, your cholesterol may be going down, but it's shutting down all of your major organs. And this is, I know, I'm kind of going off on a little tangent here, but you're
doing great, Kyle.
I almost feel like when some of these doctors that are in, the pharmaceutical industry, they take notes, right? So like the nurse will come in, take notes, and then the doctor gets the notes, and you have your charts and your records. I almost feel like after a certain amount of time, when the doctor looks at this and is like, okay, she's been given this cholesterol drug for the last 6 months, we're going to go ahead and tell her cholesterol has dropped significantly, to make him or her think that their body is healing, when in fact it's slowly atrophying. It's slowly breaking down and crumbling into nothing. I don't know exactly where I was going with that, but again, piggybacking on the fact that all this technology, I think like the main purpose of it, when you look at who's who's in charge of these different corporations and what have you. The goal is to, at the end of the day, to back Bill Gates and is to lower the population as quick and as quietly as possible.
Yeah. Or corrupt it.
And and I don't know, dude. It's fucking sickening. It was just something that kind of popped into my head as you guys were as you were finishing up on your beautifully done notes.
Well, I really appreciate that, Kyle.
Seriously, no, very good. Well done.
I'd like to interject real quick since y'all want to mock on my southern drawl and shit.
What you talking about?
Why y'all mentioned that duct tape was part of this invented for death? I would like to say, however it may have started, on behalf of a whole peoples of the South, we thank you for duct tape. We could not survive without it.
What are you talking about?
Well,
that shit's really valuable here in redneck Iowa.
So when it comes to that expediting death, some of those were designed to intend and ensure that our military members can stay in the fight to keep dishing out death.
Right.
Okay.
I'm telling you,
so duct tape,
you're in the
man,
fight for the long
in Iraq
haul.
and Afghanistan, corpsmen carry duct tape on them because sometimes
Stop bleeding.
I know a guy. He took a piece of shrapnel in the back. The corpsman went in there, pulled it out, stuffed gauze in there, duct taped the back. Boom, back in the fight. Let's go, Marine.
Pop, 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 pop.
Yeah.
If you can't duck it, fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's not from Red Green in Canada.
No, that was real life.
That is so fucking... I didn't even think about that. Like, even though the hypothetical, right, that the duct tape could be used for death, but it is, but it isn't. It's to heal the wounded to continue the fight.
Or to prolong our machinery.
But also, boys,
exposure in the fight.
Think about how many serial killer cases that are out there where they wrap duct tape around their fucking head.
Yes. I was just about to say that. Yep.
So
almost all of them.
A lot of them.
I want to tie back.
I know
to
Ted Bundy used to take it away. He'd pull it off there and even the Green River Killer. The Green River Killer had a brother and
Ridgeway.
And homicide detective down in Texas, so he knew to get rid of the duct tape because it would hold the residue of his fingertips. His fingerprints would be everywhere, so he would just
super glue. You mentioned super glue too, so
Yeah.
super glue. They didn't realize that super glue can be used to extract fingerprints.
Yep.
And I believe I forgot where it happened, but there was some person that was delivering a large amount of super glue to a different someone that had ordered it, and it got so hot, probably in the fucking Southern California, and the super glue started to, I guess, evaporate, and the smoke adhered to all the oils on this. Yep, and made fingerprints. Whoa.
That's a whole forensic science now. That's a whole forensic science process now to extract fingerprints from criminal cases.
If we're taking away all the super glue and duct tape from the world, then half of the automobiles in the South that are currently on the road would no longer be on the road.
That's nice.
True story.
I did want to mention that one of the, I believe it is the Book of Enoch. When the Watchers came, they taught humans about all sorts of different arts. Like, what's the word I'm looking for naturally genetically modifying plants and whatnot. Okay,
and not just that, but metallurgy.
But also, metallurgy,
the beautification of a woman's eyes.
And then when you get to the Greek, in the original text, I believe that one of the things that they taught them was pharmakeia, pharmaceuticals. Okay,
that's where you get
pharmakeia,
Cadius or whatever his name is.
Yeah,
the Greek word is pharmakeia.
So right back to what Chef Kyle was saying, and the unfortunate circumstances surrounding your wife right now. Okay?
Well, and going to that, buddy. Also, you have to remember, and this is the sick world we live in, and these doctors and whatnot are taught this at college through the Carnegie Rockefeller backed education system. These drugs are not meant to cure.
No.
They're meant to treat.
Yes.
Because a cured
Band-Aids.
patient is a lost customer.
Yeah, lost customer.
Yep. They got to keep us perpetual patients.
And then there's, along with the jerking off and stealing your mojo, what kind of sick fucking black magic are they pulling where they need to keep the entire population sick?
Yeah, right.
You ever looked into the damage that seed oils do on your body?
Yeah.
And what is it? What are we in America, dude? And we go to fairs and we pay for it.
Yep.
Deep fried everything.
Everything's got to be deep fried everything.
Yeah.
Grow a shitload of it in Iowa.
Dude, we have it at our fairs, man, where they're deep throating. They're deep frying.
Oh.
And I'm the one deep throating it, right? They're deep frying Oreos and pieces of cheesecake,
butter, ice cream,
Snickers,
cheese curds,
everything, dude. Right? Deep fried everything, and that's all in seed oils. And
they spray a ton of Roundup on it, folks.
Well,
with fucking airplanes.
But from the studies that I've read, dude, it takes like 20-something years for seed oils to get out of your body.
That's another thing.
And if you're consuming that on a daily basis, no wonder we're so obese and fucking sick.
Yeah, and they're creating all sorts of forever particles.
Yeah,
and free radicals.
Yes.
Oh, I wonder if that's to, maybe have some sort of lasting molecule during the resurrection.
Well, have you seen that meme? Or it's 3 generations, they're laughing, and it says, my grandfather laughing because I'm full of microplastics, my dad laughing at my grandpa because he's full of asbestos, and me laughing at my dad because he's full of lead.
I haven't seen that.
But it's so true, dude.
Yeah.
Each generation that's come through, we've had some shit that we've all been exposed to that we're fucking poisoned from. Lead paint, asbestos in buildings, and then we're all drinking out of fucking water bottles, plastic ones.
I was about to say, don't go to ewg.org and type in your zip code, because that'll tell you what is exactly is in your water, and it'll piss you right the fuck off.
Oh yeah, Eroc's got a good story about that. I don't know if it's for this episode, but
well, let's hear it.
Well, it'll be a future.
It's going to be a future special.
Well, can we get a primer?
The primer is that Eroc and his woman went full ham on some motherfuckers and let loose with both barrels, dude. It was awesome on the fluoride.
Oh yeah, yes. We need that story.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, we'll have to get her involved, and we've been pressing.
For sure.
She actually made phone calls, to the water
dude.
treatment plants and whatnot, and
it was awesome.
The runaround that they were giving her, it was ridiculous.
Yeah. And here's another thing, though. So you boys both said you were in the Navy, but you were never deployed to a foreign country, right?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
I have been, particularly Afghanistan, right? And guess what? I saw a bunch of old people. They didn't have dentures in their fucking mouth. They had their original teeth. They might have been missing a few, but those are some pearly fucking whites, dude.
No fluoride in the water.
No fluoride in their water.
That's weird.
And then what do you see from Hollywood when it comes to some, especially foreign backwoods, quote unquote, uncivilized people?
That's a Halloween costume now, dude. The buck
teeth. Yeah.
You buy them as a fucking gag fucking costume shit, at a gas station.
In the spirit of talking about scientific or world advancements that we feel like we can attribute to, whether it be the Nephilim, fallen angels, whatever, what have you. If they did indeed clone and resurrect Nimrod, it's right around that same time that you see another boom in especially in the civilian technological world. It's where cell phones start getting wicked advanced. The internet undergoes another transformation. Now it seems like every year we're rolling out. I mean, hell, I remember when LTE was the shit, dude. Like,
yeah, that was the top of the line.
Well, 56K modems,
Oh,
and
yeah,
now
These kids
my phone
don't know
won't
how.
even work. My phone won't even work with LTE anymore.
But yeah, we live streamed the moon landing back in the 60s to the White House.
And these motherfuckers on the moon talk to the president in the White House.
Right. With no lag.
And then
Which
we just so happen to
experience
throw all
and
the
witness
papers away.
We witness lag on fucking live news broadcastings.
Right.
From down the road.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they live streamed that shit from the moon before live streaming was even a thing, right?
I just don't think that it's much of a stretch to think that whatever area of life you want to focus on, the advancements there are not for the betterment of humanity.
No.
They're there for the betterment of a few.
And they're not of human creations.
Dude, we're the
They're
guinea
not of
pig
our own
class.
ideas.
We're the guinea pig
Of course
class.
we are.
Well, remember the bookmark that I stuck in on the human to human chimeras?
Yes.
Okay. So how would some sort of metaphysical or heavenly, quote unquote, air quote, DNA last if it was mixed? Okay. Well, we found out that you can get completely different DNA sets from a human being 30 years after one set of DNA from another being was accepted into another. And furthermore, Chef, you brought up what was the name of that planting? The
homunculus?
Yeah, homunculus. Well, there you go. You can culture it inside for, well, you were saying a matter of days, but that was in medieval times. Okay?
Yep. So imagine now.
Yeah, or imagine some sort of super heavenly, what do you want to call it? I don't DNA inside of a person. Maybe it could last what we would call forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I wish I had more on this, but there's two people. One is like a fucking complete expert, but I will schedule this if y'all are down to do a round table, and it'll be all on homunculus and homunculi, which I know, again, I just read you what I just recently learned about this, but I will get this scheduled, and we will make this happen hopefully in the next week or so, or whenever you guys are available, because this will be a banger, and this will also play off of this banger of all your guys' research on. My mind is blown, dude. My mind has been blown tonight, and I love this, and this is what I live for. But I definitely think we should make that happen. But you're exactly right with your connections there. I'm kind of at loss of words at this moment.
Well, I said let's do it.
Yeah. I'm all for it, man. Hey, man. We're living in a day and age where knowledge is readily available, and there's a lot of muddied waters, and but there's also a lot of shit it's like the Matrix, man. Your truth is mixed with fiction.
Yeah. That's on purpose, to distract us and to get us off course.
Yep.
Muddy the waters.
You know what's wild, dude?
And if I was the enemy... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. No, just something I found kind of weird. I don't know when this game came out. They had a game called The Matrix, right?
Yeah, with Will Smith's wife before she was sucking other dicks and stuff, right?
There is only one way to enter the Matrix.
We're in.
Wait, she was in, helped create the game?
Yes, that one on Xbox, it Xbox or Xbox 360?
Yes, it was on one of them. I think it was on the original Xbox.
Yeah,
and it grabbed me because there was a point in time during the game where you can type in a little code.
Yes. Yep.
And the code would open up, and you had control over I can't even explain it because I don't remember it enough. I just remember being able to go in and type in a little, kind of like the command prompt on your computer.
On MS-DOS. It was like an MS-DOS based thing, and then you could beef up the character by adding, because it was the Matrix, so you could edit it in any way. Yes, that was. I used to get on dogpile.com and try to find the commands to put in to make yourself invincible and shit.
Yep. Little cheatcc.com.
Oh yeah. Oh
Cheat
man.
Code Central. Let's go.
Damn, dude. I forgot about that website.
I have no fucking idea what you guys are talking about.
I was a nerd.
If you had your little Game Boy Advance, you might cop a little Game Shark. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's how I caught all the Pokemon, bro.
Cheater.
Yeah. No. Dude, hey, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, man. That's my philosophy.
I like to call myself a modder. I was a modifier.
I was calling TP a cheater, not you, brother.
Yeah.
No, you're good. I'm just talking.
If you've never played GoldenEye on 64 without the fat heads, invincibility with the golden guns,
man.
Man.
Yes.
Golden guns only. Golden guns only.
Yeah.
You reach Jaws in there.
Dude.
What was it called? P92, P97,
No,
P99?
it was
PP.
the PP7.
PP7.
Yeah, I think it was based off of the Walter, right? It was a Walter.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
yeah, it was.
But it was all gold.
It was a modded Walter. Yeah,
With like a suppressor on it, right? Yeah.
I was into proximity mines.
Those were fun too. Oh man, my cousin used to rage quit because of the proximity mines. Yeah, I used to piss him off.
You understand that kids these days, if they're listening, if they were to even put their eyes on that video game, their fucking eyes wouldn't
they
work.
would shit on it.
They wouldn't work. They'd
Yeah,
be
they'd
like,
be
what
like-
am I looking at right now?
What the fuck is this, man?
You fucking boomers.
And I remember getting my N64 and thinking that I was the coolest kid in the entire planet.
Oh yeah, dude.
I just played NHL 95 and Mario Kart on Super Nintendo. That's really all I
Oh
did.
hey, what about Blades of Steel on Nintendo and the NES?
No, that was too fake.
No, Blades of Steel was awesome.
I got my Sega somewhere around here.
Killer Instinct, baby. Killer Instinct.
Yep. That was a good one too. Man,
I was a
we're
Zelda
fucking
guy.
old, dude.
I like Zelda.
My kids are playing Zelda on the new Nintendo Switch, and the
No,
game's
fuck all this new shit.
no, it's actually badass, dude. I watch my kids play it sometimes, and I'm just like,
So my kids have a
This is the
Switch, and I
Zelda
figured
game.
out that straight from the Nintendo game store, you can download like the SNES, the N64
Oh, really?
emulators. And so you can play like Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo games
like
from
Orca
your
of Time and
Switch.
stuff.
Yeah, like I play Ocarina of Time a lot
yeah,
until
Ocarina
I
of Time.
realized that the Switch doesn't, like, there's a computing error. When you're playing the game, it's designed that like the game still operates as if you were using a Nintendo 64. And so like the mechanics and shit are kind of jank because you don't have, if you're using a Switch, you obviously don't have the N64 controller
Yeah, that probably
with the
just
Z
pissed me
button
off.
on the back, and like it takes a minute to figure out how to get the mechanics down.
But
for
is
the
it, okay,
game,
so
like-
that's a whole other interesting thing, right? Look at the virtual reality, what it's been built into. And did you ever play the Fallout games?
The Pornhub? Oh.
No, look where
Sorry,
I'm going.
I
Look
thought
where
we
I'm
were
going.
going back there.
No, but we are. Did you ever play the Fallout games?
No.
I've played Fallout 4.
Okay, so in Fallout 4, you can go into that one town ran by like the ghouls or whatever, and there's that place you can go to where you lay in that chamber and you go into like a virtual reality simulation. You remember that? I think they're starting to build people up to that point.
Well,
And
you're going to
have to break that down for me.
virtual reality hard.
So, and this is in an effort for the elites to be able to live forever. This goes back to the first lie: you will be as if you were gods. Right?
Yeah.
Kind of like in an Avatar sense.
So,
like,
yes,
you lay down in this pod and then you check out of your physical body, and your consciousness is now incorporated into something else.
Right. Avatar. That's another great example. That movie. So, yeah, the movie sucked, but the concept, though, this is where these elites are working at. So once again, going back to the Drew Misson episode, I mentioned this, and this is something I've been following for a while, is there's elitists out there. Ray Kurzweil is one particular individual who...
The founder of Google?
He was one of the CEOs of Google, yes. He's got multiple degrees from MIT. He ain't no slouch. He's got a high IQ. He's a pretty smart fella. Pretty fart smeller. And he takes vitamins. He said like something like 150 vitamins a day to sustain his body until he can upload his brain to the internet. With the intent to live forever.
Can your body even process all that?
I don't know, but they're working on it. But then you look at what Elon Musk is working on with Neuralink shit nowadays. I think we, as the middle class, the lower class, the population of the first worlds, we are going to be the beta testers for all this new technology that these elites want to get. And once they get it to where they want it, then that's where it's really going to be like...
yeah, that was a point that Drew Misson made.
Yeah, lockdown time. And I have to agree with him. It kind of feels like that's the path we're on.
We're the lab rats.
Yeah.
Well, by the same token, how long do y'all think it's going to be before we're legitimately living in a Westworld situation where we can go to these quote unquote cities that are full of just AI robots that you can do whatever you can live your. It's like a open world RPG game. You can just do whatever you want to. There's no repercussions because these aren't people.
And how many people would love that?
Well, you know, when you're having a
Sure,
dream,
I'm not saying I wouldn't love it.
when you're having a dream and you can take over your dream. Have you ever had that?
Lucid dreaming? Yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and unfortunately, there's a lot of sadistic fucks out there where things would just go bad. I don't see anything good coming of this.
Well, have y'all heard of Peter Thiel?
Yeah, he was part of the PayPal mafia, buddies with Elon Musk.
Sure, he was one of the guys started with Facebook. So in one of the first episodes that me and Ryan did, we did a deep dive into LifeLog and Facebook. And one thing that I discovered, I'm a Lord of the Rings nerd. I fucking love me some J.R.R. Tolkien.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love that shit.
He was a genius.
And he really was, dude. I think he was tapped into some otherworldly shit.
Supposedly when he was writing, he believed that whole world actually existed prior to the current existence that we live in.
I mean, you would almost, just thinking from a critical eye, for him to, what's more plausible, that place exists and that he's got a peek of it, or that he created all of that shit himself?
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Anyway. The language and the writings.
Oh, he did.
Right,
He
that's
invented
what I'm
the
saying.
languages, apparently.
Allegedly.
That's what we're told. So Peter Thiel had moved on from Facebook, and he ended up in the world of AI in the government. Well, there is a company called Palantir Technologies.
Yes.
And if you're a fan of Tolkien's work, then you understand that the Palantir were seeing stones. These were ethereal stones that held the ability to almost act as this screen that we're using to see each other now. In Tolkien's world, there were multiple stones, and if you held one in your hand and somebody, you could see to the end of the other stone. It's like looking through a portal, pretty much.
So,
well, Palantir Technologies,
the two towers, right?
Yes.
Solomon's.
Yes.
Saruman. Yeah,
that's
Saruman.
how it's because of the Palantir that's in the Black Tower is how Gandalf discovers that Saruman is working with Sauron.
Yes. Yep.
Because he briefly brushes the Palantir seeing stone and sees the Eye of Sauron.
A Palantir is a dangerous tool, Saruman. Why? Why should we fear to use it? They are not all accounted for, the lost seeing stones. We do not know who else may be watching. The hour is later than you think.
Anyhow, so this Palantir
Technologies,
Technologies, which has a interesting name just off the top of it, is completely and wholly indebted into this AI venture. Well, what we have today is a product of Palantir Technologies. It's called the Gotham operating system. This Gotham operating system is used by our military today. It is an AI predictive technology program that tells our military what to do.
There's science fiction written about that.
Fiction.
It's like Risk, but
well, and these stones with mystical powers, that seems to be a reoccurring thing too.
Sure
Look
is.
at the Marvel movies, the Avenger ones. I stopped watching Marvel movies after a while. I'm like, I get it.
But you've got the Infinity Stones.
Yes, the Infinity
You've
Stones.
got
That's it.
Harry Potter world has the
Sorcerer's Stone, which is
and it also has the Stone of Resurrection.
Yeah, and that really falls into the category, and we kind of we touched a little bit with Drew Misson about it, to where
And so
this world that we live
sorry
in.
to interrupt.
Go ahead.
We've got this whole episode about this obscene need to obtain knowledge and use that knowledge to
Expedite
benefit a
death.
very specific agenda. And we see examples of this real life thing that we're living through in all of our entertainment, in all of our media. It's literally everywhere. We've been desensitized to the fact that there are mystical arts and
Yes.
necromancy. If you even whispered that word in medieval times, you were getting burned at the stake. Now we think of it as something that you can choose to be on Skyrim.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought about too when you said necromancy. I was thinking Elder Scrolls.
Exactly. So I mean, nothing we have talked about here has led off of this path of whether it be AI, cloning, chimeras, homunculi, they're all connected to this forbidden knowledge that were ultimately given to humanity by beings of darkness.
All right, so let me blow your mind real quick a little bit one more time. So, the Watchers, the Book of Enoch, which was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Theo brought up the Book of Enoch earlier.
Yeah.
And it said the Book of Enoch was written for the end of times. It wasn't written for the generation that it was wrote in. It was written for a later generation. And in the Book of Enoch, they talk about these angels coming down, right?
The Watchers.
Yep.
Right. All this stuff happens. And then Enoch, who was one of the few characters, or not characters, one of the few individuals in the Bible that walked with God. He never officially died, according to the Bible.
Right. And this is the pre-Diluvian era prior to the flood.
Right.
He was Noah's
Prior to the
grandfather.
flood. Yes. Prior to the flood. And these Watchers that met on Mount Hermon and took a blood oath that they knew...
Which is where the transfiguration happened as well, by the way.
Yes, and they knew that what they were about to do was going to be a great sin against the Creator. But that's why they took a blood oath. And they're like, we're gonna go ahead and do this. This here's what we want to do. We want to bang these bitches. And the leader, Shemzaza, was like, I'm pretty sure you little pussies are going to back out on me. They're like, no, he won't. He's like, take a blood oath. So they cut their fucking left hand, shook on it.
Is that where this whole Nephilim, if you're left-handed, your offspring of Nephilim comes from?
Maybe. I don't know. But that's a good point, right? Weird. Another weird connection. So then the angels went and did what they did, corrupted mankind, and they said they sinned against them. They not only sinned against man, they sinned against the plants and the animals.
The animals, yeah.
And then once the Creator, once Yahweh was like, all right, we're about done with this bullshit. And the angels knew it. And they were so afraid to face the Most High face to face because they knew what they did was fucking bad. Right? That's why they took the blood oath in the beginning, because they knew it was going to be fucking terrible. We're going to have our fun as it is now. Kind of like us stubborn humans. We're going to have our fun now. We'll pay for it later, I guess. I know I'm going to have a hangover tomorrow, but I'm going to fucking pay for it. But yeah, party on, Wayne.
Party on, Garth.
So then these angels were like, all right, hey, Enoch, we know that you're cool with the man upstairs, and we're not really on talking terms with him right now, so can you be like our public defender? And he was like, well, you guys are kind of fucked, but yeah, I'll play your silly reindeer games. Let's go, right? And he goes and he presents his case, and you read the book Enoch, you'll learn what happens and stuff. And eventually, what happened was this. Yahweh was like, no, these guys are fucking dumb. And here's how we're going to play this game. So Yahweh says to Enoch, no, your first form of punishment, you angels, you get to watch your Nephilim, your offspring, kill each other in a massive battle, which some researchers believe was like what we're still told about today and age, the Battle of the Titans, right? They turned on each other and they started a war. And it being a father, I think we're all fathers here except for Erock. His baby's a guitar because he's a rock star.
And cats.
And he's a cat dad. So
one of them's right here.
Being a father, how horrible would that have to be to watch your own children fucking murder each other?
That'd be pretty bad.
Erock, being a cat dad, how awesome would it be to watch two of your cats tear each other apart?
Well, if I had $35,000, I'd just clone them.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll see who survives round 2. Yeah, but I'm just saying that would be horrific to have to watch. Then the next form of punishment for these angels was the leader was cast in chains and into darkness until the day of judgment. We'll get back to him. The rest of them, the other 32 angels, because there's 33 total. That sound familiar?
It does.
Okay. So the other 32 angels were thrown in the bottomless pit for 77 generations. Okay. Which means they were basically just falling in darkness away. The glory of God, his face was turned away.
Some early Greek translations say that it is the pit at the bottom of the abyss, not the bottomless pit.
Either way,
Regardless.
they were either falling or they were trapped somewhere where they couldn't fucking leave for 77 generations. And there's a whole bunch of speculation on that. You can go look into those numbers yourselves. The Jehovah Witnesses believe, and I think they're onto something here, where somewhere around the turn of the 19th century, these angels were let loose.
You mean the Industrial Revolution?
Yeah. Well, when you think about it, we went from horse and buggy for thousands of years, and then all of a sudden we had the automobile.
I was going to say that earlier, that all of a sudden we're talking about human cloning technology when 200 years ago people were cleaning up shit out of the road. Not even 200 years ago.
And then less than 100 years after the Industrial Revolution, we were talking about eugenics.
Yeah.
And euthanizing
entire races, perhaps,
right.
of people.
With human zoos and all that good shit.
Right. So, but Shemzaza, the leader of these
the
angels,
one that you bookmarked earlier.
The bookmark, going back to him. So you all heard of the term scapegoat, right? Pretty common term nowadays.
Yeah.
That's an ancient Hebrew terminology. So what the ancient Israelites used to do when they were out in the desert for 40 years, right? When they were cast out of the promised land because they refused to go in and kill the giants that the Israelite spies had reported back on. And then they had to wander the desert. And so what they used to do every night was they would take a goat and they would pin scarlet cloth on it and send it out east towards some Jaza. And then the goat would come back the next morning and all the cloth pins that were stuck to it, the red ones and maroon ones, they would be pure as white, signifying that their sins had been cast from them onto Shemzaza. So Shemzaza and Jews still do this tradition today. So all the sins of the Israelites are supposed to be cast onto Shemzaza until the day of judgment, and then he has to pay for all those sins of the Israelites. So that's where the term scapegoat comes from.
Huh.
Right.
Did not know that.
Now you know.
Did not know that either.
And knowing is half the battle. Now, once again, going back to these angels that were possibly let loose back into the day, we had the Industrial Revolution. We started making cars. We found ways to make cranes to manufacture and build buildings and bridges and all this stuff way more efficiently.
We found the power of the atom to kill each other.
Fossil fuels, and that's where I was getting to. The first thing that we did after we found out a way where we can make a motorized vehicle, well, what's the next step? How can we put weapons on it to kill people?
Split atoms.
How do we expedite death? So then shortly after the Industrial Revolution, what do we have? World War *1.
Yeah. Tens of millions of people wiped off the face of the planet.
With machines.
And we never look back.
And we never look back. So, have the fallen angels, have the 32 been let loose on the earth again? And
so maybe it was under the influence of those 32 that we went and found the body of Nimrod to resurrect him.
Well, now, yes. Now think about this one. We all heard the conspiracy theory that the Nazis were in cahoots with aliens, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
What if these aliens were fallen angels? And we all know, anybody that has a fucking brain at this point in history knows that the Nazis never lost the fucking war. They never surrendered.
No.
They just moved to America.
Or the Soviet Union. Yeah.
And you look at our our pop culture nowadays, and they throw in our face the Captain America movies. Hail Hydra, right?
Hail Caesar.
They showed us how it's all done, dude.
Yep. Well, I mean, we know that a vast majority of the upper level Nazis, including the aforementioned Dr. Mengele, made it to South America, such as places like Argentina.
Yes.
Iraq was just going to say that.
They just continued their shenanigans.
Yes.
As if never happened.
Mengele, there was a large population of twins down in that area where Mengele was at.
That's what I was literally trying to say, was that there's an entire village of nothing but twins.
Right. That's genetics, man.
Eugenics, yeah.
Sorry. You're right. That's eugenics.
Well, and just like recently with the Nazi in Canada.
Yeah. Standing ovation. Kind of sick fucking world we living in, dude. But it makes sense, though. You know, the Bible tells us we're living in a fallen world. And the more research and digging I do, the more evidence it goes to show.
Convinced.
Yeah. You know, you look at, and I try to, not too hard just because I've been down this rabbit hole, but I try to convince Christians that who runs this world. They're like, oh, God's in charge of everything. I agree with that. But who's in charge of this world? They're like, well, Jesus. I'm like, no, dude.
Wrong.
It says in the Bible, Lucifer is the god of this world. And then I bring up, I say, the temptations, the three temptations in the desert. Jesus went out to fast for 40 days and 40 nights, and then Lucifer himself presented himself, appeared, and then tempted him. And you guys remember what the three temptations were?
The first one was everything that you can see.
Nope. That was the last one.
Okay. Well, hey, you know what? Sometimes
you're good. You're good.
Go in order.
You're good, bro. The first one was bread. Hey, if you're the son of God and you're hungry, turn the stone into bread.
Because he had just got done fasting. Yep.
Yes, he was still in his fast. This is at the end of the fast.
Yeah.
And Jesus said, you know, and remember, he used the word of God to dispute the adversary, and he said, "For it is written that man cannot live off of bread alone, but the word of God." Yep. Satan was like, "Fuck! All right, let's go up this fucking mountain, man." And now on their way up this high place, the second temptation was, if you are the Son of God, throw yourself off this cliff, and surely the angels will come and save you. And once again, Jesus used Scripture, for it is written that the Lord thy God shall not be tempted in any way, shape, or form. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is another thing. Lucifer, he knows Scripture. The adversary knows it. He knows Scripture
better than any human.
And he was like,
Kyle, why does Lucifer know the Scripture, Kyle? What have I been saying for the longest? Because he is of the Word.
Yeah.
He is made of the same Word that was referenced when it says in John 1:1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was God,
flesh.
the Word was with God. Yes.
Yep.
That word, I like to say, is law. I like to interchange that word.
Hey,
and the same law that made existence and everything inside of it made the angels, which by default includes Lucifer. And so who better than to twist the law than the person that's literally made of it?
He was there when it was written.
Yeah.
We're told that over and over again in pop culture. I was there when it was written. Don't speak the old magic to me. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, Hank. You're on the right path, dude. So then Jesus is brought up to the high place, and the adversary shows him every kingdom of the world. And he says, bow to me, and I shall give you domain over all these kingdoms. And Jesus didn't dispute saying, you can't give me domain because you don't have control of them. He just simply disputes, for it is written that no man shall bow before any other God except for the Most High, Yahweh. And that's when the adversary was like, fuck.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. Fine. Then I'm just going to leave your ass here and I'm going. Bye. And then the angels came to his aid. Yeah. You ain't getting shit then, motherfucker. But then you go back to the old. So that right there, that to me was one of the indicators that if the adversary did not have dominion over these kingdoms, how could he give over ownership or power to control if he didn't already have that? power and control over it. And then more of my evidence for that is you go back to the Old Testament, to the book of Daniel. And Daniel was fasting and waiting for a word of the Lord. And one night, him and his buddies are chilling, smoking and joking, and then all of a sudden this shiny being shows up and his buddies fucking bounce. And Daniel's like, holy shit, gets down on his face, and this thing's like, no, I'm not a god. I'm just a messenger. Don't bow to me. Right? It's not good. And Daniel's like, yo, dude, I've been fasting for like 20-something days. Like, your messenger from the Lord, where have you been? I've been waiting for this message. And
he was in a fight.
The angel replied to him. He said, the prince of Persia resisted me for 20 days and 20 nights. And then the archangel Michael had to come to my aid so that I can get this message to you. Obviously, when he was referring to the prince of Persia, that's no human prince. What kind of...
That's Jake Gyllenhaal, ain't it?
Yeah. But what kind of human could ever stall a messenger of God, an angel of the Lord? No human being can do that we know of.
Only another angel of the Lord.
Right. So, and then you go back into the New Testament and go to Ephesians, and it talks about, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers.
The power of the air.
Yeah, powers in high places, right? So then you look at all these kingdoms around the world, and we're also told in the Bible we should pray for the leaders of the world.
Yep.
And it makes sense that we should pray for them because they're being probably tormented by these demonic spirits at every angle, whispering sweet nothings into their ears.
Yep.
So then when you wrap it all together, dude, everything's working towards one really common goal of the Antichrist coming back. We look at what's going on with Israel. They're about to commit genocide. We talked about that in our special report. I have no doubt in my mind the Israeli government thinks that this is the Old Testament.
Biblical, yep.
And I don't think they're going to stop with the Gaza Strip. They're going to move over to the West Bank. And they're going to take complete control of Jerusalem. And the third temple is going to be built.
And it's time to tell the Palestinians, abandon your fantasy of destroying Israel. Abandon the fantasy that you will conquer Jerusalem.
There was a meeting recently with, I believe they're called the Oriental Jews of North Africa and the Middle East. And it was in the tunnels beneath the Temple Mount. And we know that the Al-Aqsa Mosque is on top of the Temple Mount.
Yep.
Which is the third holiest site in all of Islam. And in order to rebuild the third temple, they will have to demolish the mosque.
Yep.
Which means that they will unite Sunni and Shia Muslims for an absolutely catastrophic war. But what this particular sect of Jews said, and they are actually accumulating massive amounts of power within Israel right now, political power, political capital. They said, this is ours. Pointed up because they're underneath the mount. And that is their plan.
Absolutely. There's already it's called the Third Temple Rebuild Society.
Yeah. They have plans.
They have everything.
They have blueprints for
they
this
have everything prefabbed. All the internal stuff. They have blocks stored in warehouses, ready to go. Everything's purchased. All they need is the word go.
Wow.
But what did God say about hiding under mountains?
That's what they're going to do. The elitists are going to do.
Help you not.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Bit.
But also, here's what we're saying, though, dude. They destroy the temple on the mount and rebuild the temple to Yahweh on the original foundation of the temple of Yahweh. Every Muslim country in the world is going to fucking be gunning for them again. But here's something different that they have that Israel didn't have back in the 60s. Nuclear fucking weapons.
Yeah.
So we're going to see where this goes, man. It's an open book right now, but shit's going down.
Gentlemen, I don't mean to. This is going fucking awesome, and I don't mean to be that dude, but I gotta bounce. I have to go next door to my mom's house and go help her out with the farm.
No, you're good, dude. We were talking about having to wrap it up ananyway.
Yeah, Kyle, it was amazing, man.
You guys are amazing. I reached out to. There's a group chat that I created with all of us here on Instagram, so we're going to make that happen, the Homunculus episode.
Okay, perfect.
Super stoked. I thank you guys so much for your time, and I thank you guys for having me join you all.
No,
This
dude,
has
the
been
pleasure
awesome,
is
dude.
all ours, man. We're glad to have you.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, no, man, I appreciate it, man. Sorry, I got a little caught up. I got kids running around and what have you. So I
take care of mom, brother.
No, yeah.
Yes,
Mama's
sir.
important, bro. Mama is
yes,
important.
sirs. Yes, sirs. Hank, dude, love you, brother. Always a pleasure, man.
Yeah, man. Love you too. Send Ashley and my kids the best, man.
Done and done, son. You
I'll
gentlemen,
be in touch
all you
with
guys,
you soon.
All right,
yes,
hey.
sir. You guys all have a blessed night, man. Thank you again. Thank you guys so much. This was a great conversation, and I already know there's going to be many more in the works. We got to do that 3-part episode or whatever that I don't know who exactly I was talking with a couple weeks ago.
Me. You're talking with me, TP.
But let's go. We'll make that happen, man.
We
We'll
are.
make that happen. I'm super stoked.
Good things are coming. Good things are coming.
I agree, man, and I couldn't be more blessed than to be in y'all's presence at this moment and having this awesome conversation. Thank you for opening up my eyes and educating myself. And
Likewise.
With that being said, y'all stay fly, be kind, and hasta la pasta.
Peace,
All right,
brother.
hey, stay frosty
Later.
there, Kyle.
Thank you, guys. Hasta.
Peace.
Hank.
Yeah, he's a great guy, man.
He
I
is.
love
No,
him.
he is. I'm glad he could step in and fill in for Drew tonight.
Yeah, Drew. When you listen to this, just know you missed one hell of an episode. Fucker.
Yeah.
We can't wait to meet you, Drew.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll
Wait
come
till we
around one
talk
of
in
these times.
person. I got a few choice words for you, sir. No, I'm just joking.
Gentlemen,
He's gonna be like, "Fuck this guy," and then dox my ass.
right.
I was kidding,
Y'all-
Drew. I'm gonna splice that out.
This has been an outstanding conversation. Like I thought that I was prepared and I wasn't. We have been all over the place, but it all ties in together, and I've never failed to be amazed by the way things fall together.
No.
Like I said, me and Kyle and his buddy Anthony that I had just only met through Kyle that one time got to talking about stuff that I didn't even know we were going to be touching on tonight, and it just so synchronistically falls into place, and it lets me know that we've got to be at least somewhat close to the right track.
Right?
No
Yeah.
coincidences.
Yeah, no kidding, dude. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No kidding.
Well,
Dude,
But
Hank,
gentlemen, yeah, it's been a pleasure.
great, dude.
TP E-Rock, I'm glad we finally got to catch up with you. Theo, it's
Yeah.
been great talking to you again, my friend.
Dude, it was awesome.
Gentlemen, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all's night and y'all's weekend. I'm gonna be getting up and going, pulling some 8 hours tomorrow, working me a little overtime. So
Right on.
Yeah, well, hey, Christmas is coming. Get that OT when you can get it, brother.
absolutely.
And you're getting a big
Guys,
bonus this year.
yeah, man, my boss actually does take care of me.
That's good.
Right on.
I don't know what that's like. No.
Go be one of 2 employees, and you might find out.
Well, hopefully we can be our own employees someday, but we'll see what happens.
That's the goal.
Yep.
Hell, my boss done told me whenever he gets too old to do all the shit that he's just going to turn it over to me and one of his sons. And I was like, well, hell, I'll be here, man. I ain't going nowhere.
All right, dude. That's awesome, bro. Well, now you finally, Theo felt the need for you to get a good look at us. So
It's always nice to be able to put a face to the name.
now you know what we look like. But no, dude, we're definitely going to be in communication in the future. Like I said, you're just south of us, dude, and
On
we're-
the river.
Yeah, we're from the Midwest. So,
Highway 61.
If it's 12 hours or less, that ain't that long of a drive.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So, dude,
we'll definitely have to.
we're gonna
try to
figure
get
something
together
out, bro.
sometime.
No, we definitely
Yeah,
will.
man.
We're gonna make it happen, and I'm stoked for the future, dude.
Until
Absolutely.
then, it's been a pleasure, man.
It has been great, dude. So, Hank, think about what you're about to say, because always remember,
Don't eat the yellow cake.
don't eat the yellow snow.
And don't do 23andMe because then they have your DNA and
Yeah.
they're going to
Yep.
clone you. And
That's right.
if they don't already have your foreskins and your pap smears.
No doubt. But then, Hank, what do you want people to always remember?
Oh shit, you took mine. Don't go fucking with antibiotic infested chicken.
There we go.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Iowa Talk, guys, and 643 Conspiracy Theory out.
Hi. Good night, everybody.
And I'd rather be here. I'd rather be here. So thank you very much. Very nice. Appreciate it.